Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lech, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party! Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, guys. Even though you missed the live party, guys, that is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's also say thank you to my6shirt.com, the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. What is good? We got Zippy in the building. Welcome, guys. I just had a little struggle streaming scare. I had everything set up, and then I'm ready. I'm trying to get the video, and the video just was not playing. But you need not worry. Everything is as it should be. Alex Jones is here, and so he was on. He was a guest on Vivek Ramaswamy's podcast. So I know that we've talked about Vivek a lot. I know that we've even followed his episodes of his podcast. But when a presidential hopeful is talking to Alex Jones, what else can we do? So welcome to the party. Hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
When they censor you and deplatform you, they can then steal your identity and misrepresent what you've said and done, and then build a straw man and transferring the power to themselves. That's the new world order. That's global.
It's actually the old world order.
It is, you're right.
It's really just the old world order in new world
Shout out
clothing.
to Soil to Soul. Welcome to the party. Let's do it.
Republican running for president.
He should not be
there we go.
apologetic
on the
to
dot.
stand up and
on the
speak
dot.
for the truth. Let's talk truth.
Let's talk truth. Let's do
talking
it.
today to somebody who I'm meeting for the first time. I met him a few minutes ago for the first time.
That must have been an experience, because as much as you know about Alex Jones, meeting him in person has got to be its own thing.
I actually don't know a lot about him. The number one thing I know about him is that everybody has told me not to talk to him, which is what made me want to actually sit down and talk to him.
Based.
The United States of America were founded on free speech and open debate. It's in the First Amendment for a reason.
Yep.
And so, you know what? It's wrong that we've become a culture that wants to censor free speech and open debate. And I think that part of the American way of life is we don't just embrace moderate ideals. That is an extreme idea. The idea that you get to speak your mind as long as I get to in return. That's a wild idea.
We take it for granted, but it really, it really is. Most of the world doesn't experience that right. And indeed, it is a right here where it is not in many other places.
For most of human history, it was done the other way. And that's what makes America great. That's what makes America itself. And so if somebody tells me, don't listen to this person, my reaction is,
I'm going to listen to him.
I'm going to listen to him. I'm going
to listen even harder.
Keep an open mind and hear what every person has to say, because I'm a human being. Each of us as Americans is a human being, and we can judge for ourselves what we believe the actual right way forward is for our country. So with that said, I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. I'm excited about it.
All right. Let's do it.
Vivek, thanks for doing this, because when they censor you and deplatform you, they can then steal your identity and misrepresent what you've said and done, and then build a straw man.
Yeah.
And that's why they fight so hard. 99% of the things they say about me aren't true. They never show a clip. They just say I've done these things I haven't done. Yeah. And it reminds me of them saying that Trump said after the thing that happened in Virginia and Charlottesville, that he said Hispanics are horrible criminals, bad people. He didn't say that. He said they're wonderful, good people, but there are also a lot of bad people coming across the border.
So Guantek is saying Vivek said that he was a libertarian back in the day. I wonder how much he followed Alex back then. I'd say Ron Paul and him were the two biggest libertarians out there at the time. So if I had to guess, Vivek would not see Alex Jones in the vein of somebody to listen to. And so he did specifically say that he doesn't know a lot about Alex Jones. So I'm guessing that this is going to be, like really just a meeting of minds for the first time. I don't think he's familiar with Alex at all.
They wouldn't show the clip. They would just say he said that, but he had a big enough bully pulpit to override that. And so it doubled the number of Hispanics from when he first got elected towards the end of his first term who understood that it was a lie, and they then embraced him because of that. But that was because he could show them the actual clip and show them that there'd been a lie. I'm not as big as Trump. I'm probably like 5% of the poll he's got. And so I have been successfully in many ways destroyed. I mean, they built another Alex Jones.
So that's a really good point that he brings up, is that it's not just that once you're deplatformed, you don't have the opportunity to say what you want to say, but then it gets to a point where they can create a new person out of who you are. And so it's not even that, oh, Alex Jones didn't say that, or Alex Jones said something different. It's just that they can say, oh, Alex Jones said X, Y, and Z, and there's no expectation of a clip because everybody's already primed. Like, oh, yeah, it's Alex Jones. He's crazy. Nobody needs to listen to him. Oh, he said this crazy thing. Of course he did. That's what Alex Jones does, without ever having to verify whether it's true or not.
That's not me. And that's why they say don't ever interview Alex Jones, because they're going to hear something that probably most people are going to agree with.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think that, I mean, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the fact that, you know, somebody came up, I don't know if it was someone from your team or someone who's part of your, you know, one of your followers or something suggested it. And I said, okay, well, several people are saying, talk to this guy. Let's see if that's something we're open to. And then the reaction that I get is, no. This is a guy you don't want to talk to. It's going to be politically toxic for you. And my view is, no. We're the United States of America. So I have no idea.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. Again, that people around Vivek, people who want Vivek to do well, would think that, oh, we can't even get anywhere close to Alex Jones because that'll be politically toxic for you. As if to imply, no, Vivek, you can't handle having a conversation with this person. I don't know about that, says Vivek. And here we are. Zibby Strange said also, you have to be wary of liberalism, as it will seek the right and correct way, regardless the cost. It's no different from the church that wants to control you. I think that's a little, liberalism in general. I don't know if we could say like generally classical liberal values are meant to control you. I think it's the perversion of that which it should be. It's the fact that we want free speech, but only this type of free speech. It's that we want equality, but only in these areas. We don't want special treatment, but these people get special treatment. It's the corruption of liberalism itself, which is, I think, what gets to control and all of that. I think the actual values themselves, as long as we stick to the values, we're good.
If I'm going to agree with everything you're going to say or not, but
well, I mean, here's your comeback.
I'm curious about this. Yeah,
here's your comeback. Lester Holt last week did a really important interview, or 2 weeks ago, with the Ayatollah Khomeini, the leader of Iran. Now, that guy is praising the attacks on Israel. It's terrible. Sorry. I think he's a bad guy.
Yeah, Khomeini's not a good guy.
Doesn't mean I want World War III with them either, and Hezbollah, who's got sleeper cells in America.
Gotta look pretty.
Border. But that said, everybody doesn't attack Lester Holt interviewing the leader of Iran, the religious dictator. Okay, so you see Hamas publishing videos of kidnapping Israelis, killing Israelis, dead bodies, whole houses shot up with dead families. That's posted on Twitter. That's okay. I actually think that's, I guess free speech, as long as it has an advisory on it. The kids don't see it. Okay, it's horrible. First Amendment, I don't agree with it, but I understand it needs to be shown.
That's where I'm at.
And then, just piggybacking off of the original point that Alex Jones made, now somebody can say, oh, Alex Jones thinks it's okay that all these babies are blown up and da-da-da-da, because he said, oh, and that's okay. In the context of it's okay for that to be seen, but it's not okay for my voice to be heard. And nobody is going to question it. Nobody's going to question it. Zibby says, when you inject politics into liberalism, it becomes corrupt. Same with religion. We need a system that defaults mostly to the will of the individual. How is liberalism not inherently political? I think the notion of the rights people have and what people should or shouldn't be able to do, I think that is inherently political. I don't know how would you separate politics from liberalism?
Is free speech an open debate?
I haven't killed anybody. I'm not storming Israeli towns and murdering people in mass or coming on powered hang gliders, slaughtering people.
True.
But they don't want this to be heard, because when I see your message and I'm not kissing your ass, it's just true. You are the most informed, and they'll use this to attack you, but it's just true. Geopolitically, you name it, compared to anybody I've ever basically interviewed.
Did you hear what he said already? Did you hear what he said already? Listen to it.
The most informed, and they'll use this to attack you, but
they're going to use this to attack you. What does that mean? That means that because he knows what's good, they're going to try to throw all the same type of conspiracy stuff that actually is happening. That they threw it at Alex Jones, they're going to throw it at Vivek as well. Now, obviously, they're two very different people. But interesting point. You're the most informed, and they will use that to attack you. Shout out to Indie Film. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, brother. Good to see you. We also got Rabbi Glickman in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we got Splits going on. What's going on? What's going on? How are you doing? Rabbi said, I think it's worth mentioning the fact that both of Alex Jones' wives are Jewish and that all of his children are half Jewish. Fair enough. Didn't know that. Thank you. And welcome to the party.
This is true. Geopolitically, you name it, compared to anybody I've ever basically interviewed. And Tucker Carlson's super smart, and I would say has more charisma, but he's a close second. Your grasp, because I see the random questions you're asked, of just a wide spectrum of things is amazing. And your understanding that America, the idea of a free market competitive culture, is something the globalists can't have because they have a competing corporate oligarchy or tyranny and cashless society, social credit score they're setting up with the ESGs. Right. And that's the potential of America is so powerful because people aspire to that. America has to be wiped out, the political correctness and all the rest of it, so that the whole world can be leveled down to one giant third world population that BlackRock and the mega corporations can exploit and control and, quote, control our behavior, as Larry Fink said. So congratulations on the work you've done. The number one candidate I support is Donald Trump. If something happened to him, I would support you.
I said, shit, me too. Right now, I'm 100% in the Donald Trump camp because of the political nature. But if I was just to pick somebody in a of the candidates, who do I think would be the best? Absolutely, it would be Vivek. But I mean, Trump is Trump, baby. We gotta run with it. So Zippy said, before that when you inject politics into liberalism, then it becomes corrupt. And I'm not sure how you would separate liberalism from politics because I think that they're kind of inherently the same thing. So Zippy said, my train of thought, liberalism, like religion, is being used to destroy the individual. If you have a system that defaults to the individual and not the collective, it becomes a process that's much harder to corrupt. Okay, I don't disagree. But number one, classical liberalism is about the individual. And number two, you didn't address the separating from politics. So how are you separating liberalism from politics?
For president, and I'm very, very impressed. A lot of people say, well, 5 years ago, his views were a little bit different. Well, so were mine. And so people saying, well, he wasn't perfect in the past. Well, I'm not perfect today. We have to be ready as the world awakens to the real political system to have converts to liberty and freedom and Americana. And so the fact that you are a leading light, really promoting the truth is amazing. And the few people that criticize you saying, well, he just showed up on the scene. Well, that's what happens with innovation and ideas.
Well, and also it's a very silly thing. Be like, oh, you just showed up on the scene. Remember during the debate when Nikki Haley was going after his political resume? And it's like, we just came off. Not only did we just come off having Trump as president, who did an amazing job despite never being a politician, but then we go back to a lifelong politician in Joe Biden, and everything goes to hell. So this idea of, why am I not in focus? Come on, baby. What's going on? There we go. This idea that we need some type of career politician in order to determine what is politically advantageous is just not a thing anymore. That's just not the truth. And it's starting to look like the more entrenched in politics you have been throughout your life, the worse of a politician you're going to be. So I don't know about that.
Of course, you didn't just show up on the scene, but exploded on the national scene. And so I really appreciate your campaign. I think it's the best thing out there. When you watch these Republican debates, they're unwatchable except for you. My listeners all agree.
Yep. So everybody says the needs and wants of the individual should never be more important than the needs and wants of the collective. I got to disagree with that. I think it has to be that way. I think if you put the needs of the collective first, then people can fall through the cracks. I think if the individual is the primary source, then I mean, nothing's perfect, but the individual has to be at the top. Otherwise, we're talking about communism.
The crew all agrees that why don't we just have you up there for 2 hours instead? Because there's nothing but talking points and canned garbage from the rest of them. Because I can tell you run your campaign. All the rest of these people are told what to say, and they're looking at polls and numbers, and it's synthetic. With you, it's real.
Yep. Shout out to Daniel Cabrera. Welcome to the party. So it's not so much needing a career politician. I want Vivek to be clear about what his belief structure is. So I mean, I'm not sure what you mean, because he does talk openly about how he is a Hindu, but he talks about the religious values that the same way that I do, that we want to be reflected. So I'm a little bit confused about that, because I feel like I'm pretty clear about what his belief structure is.
They're puppets, and that's not even their fault. Actually, I've realized at first I would think I'm running against these other candidates. They're puppets of a broken super PAC puppet master system, and that's just the state of American politics today. And my view is, if you look at some of the stuff that I've written in my books, my first, book, Woke Inc., even years ago, I agree with 99% of what I said, but I've moved a little bit, and that's good. We're human beings. That's why I'm having this conversation.
You're a flip-flopper.
That's why people listen to contrary voices. We're human beings, not partisan hacks.
Well, exactly.
The world's got to respond to information and think about it and evolve our views. That's what it means to be a thinking human being, at least to me.
Well, and the globalists have come out in the open.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to Tucker Carlson just the other day. Went and visited him in Maine, and we did some hunting and stuff. And he was like, man, I'm more radical than you now. We were sitting there talking because the world, it's out in the open. The globalists have taken the mask off.
Yeah.
And so I know you've been a pro freedom of speech, liberty guy for a decade or more. All I'm saying is what you say is dead on. I mean, I sit there and I watch it and I go, gosh, I wish I could nail it. And I'm not kissing your ass. It's true.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And this is the kind of thing that you hear from everybody, is that, like, we've heard, okay, he took a line from Obama's speech. He had some failed companies in the biotech industry. But, like, by and large, I remember I was talking to Van from LFR Family, and we were talking about Vivek. And we were both like, we're just waiting. Like, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I know there's got to be something. He's not perfect, but just everything he says just seems to be so on point. How can it possibly be? And months later, here we are, and still nothing. Shout out to Premila. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. Welcome to the party. Hope you are having an amazing day as well. Welcome to the party. Rabbi says Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis will start war in the Middle East if one of them becomes president. Yup. Golnick said, I went nuts when Vivek admitted on live television that he can say what he's going to say because he's not bought and paid for it like the rest of these people on stage. Yeah, I mean, it's a different. It's almost like a superpower in these debates and in the elections and the campaigns and whatever, to not have to be stuck to towing a party line and appeasing donors and stuff. It's like a superpower. Yeah, no, he's Hindu. He's Hindu. Zippy said, at a higher level, it's semantics, but I'm trying to think in sound bites and propaganda to push forward the agenda of protecting the individual from the collective. Yeah, I agree with that. That's why protecting the individual first from the collective second, then making sure the collective is okay. Hope everything is amazing today. I love the positivity. This is what we need more of in the party. Welcome. Actually, I love to view some interesting channels. That's why I'm here. Well, you are in the right place. Welcome.
Nail it. And regardless of what happens, we need people like you, at the top of government that actually know the subjects and aren't just getting talking points from the donor class.
Yeah. So let's just, since we're meeting for the first time, just a few minutes. I mean, your audience is probably very well familiar with this, but in your own words, it's just to hear it without, I didn't Google any of this beforehand, etc. I don't want to be biased. What's your journey to the views that you have now? I mean, what gets you going in terms of your mission? You're clearly a passionate guy, want to revive the essence of our founding ideals of the free exchange of ideas, not be controlled in a way that impedes the sovereignty of the United States. I know these topics animate you, but what personally got you to that place right now?
I had a lot of family that worked in the
CIA, right?
The stick in U.S. intelligence.
Yeah, right. I remember that from when he was talking on Rogan. However, he's been there multiple times. I don't remember specifically when, but talking about how he got to thinking this way, just conspiratorial and being skeptical and questioning agencies because of how close to all this stuff he was as a kid. Now, I don't think he was having, like weekly meetings as to, okay, Dad, what's going on? Okay, Uncle, whatever. But when that's all around you, and you get to see behind the curtain a little bit, it can turn you into Alex Jones. I mean, what can I say?
Never really told me any of the classified or secret stuff, but like my uncle was high level. I ran Contra and a bunch of other stuff.
Damn.
And
oh, really? So I would have never guessed that. You're what, parents or uncles?
Just a lot of people. Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people in your family were in U.S. intelligence.
Well, I mean, back during the 70s, 80s and stuff, before they went from HUMET to electronic intelligence, there was a mobilization of the population against the Russians and others.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I had a lot of family. I went to a family reunion. It was like a Soldier of Fortune convention. And they would just talk about what the government was doing, what was going on. They were patriots. But just like we see all these whistleblowers now, the government, they didn't like what was happening. So it's not that the government's our enemy. It's that criminals at the top have basically captured it. So when you're a child growing up hearing all this, I just kind of absorbed it. I wasn't even really listening to it until later I realized how true it was. And then I started to go to college a little bit, but I was already very successful in business by the time I was like 19 as a salesman. And boom, I saw really this anti-American race-based brainwashing that we see out in the open now, but it was going on here in Austin on the college campuses.
Oh yeah. Shout out to CT223. Welcome to the party. Just wanted to let you know I have all the documents. What documents? Don't know what you're talking about, but welcome to the party. We also got Torsi. Welcome. Sorry if I'm butchering that name as well. I'm terrible at names. Said Vivek is fearless, and that is what I love about him. Welcome to the party, guys.
And so I decided.
And when was this? Just so we track.
This is in about 1993.
Okay.
And I've been on air since 1994, officially 95.
Okay. But you were a salesman before that. You were
put one in the chat. If Alex Jones has been on the air longer than you have been alive.
Started college. Where was college? Where was that at?
I just went to local community college.
Here in Austin?
I was figuring out what I wanted to do.
Here in Austin.
Listen, okay, this is gonna be the best vacuum cleaner you ever did. I just gotta get rid of all the dirt. I guess I don't know if I have a good rate that Alex Jones impression. I don't know if it was good. I'm gonna call you Preemie so that I don't mess it up anywhere. Preemie says, I got a Twitch streamer friend named Crokies, has achieved partnership on Twitch, and I think you may be able to offer valuable experience. Hey, yeah, join the this Discord server and get in contact. I am always looking to network and grow the channel, grow the community. It is my lifeblood. CT says that's what Alex Jones always says. Yep, exactly. I have all the documents. Daniel Cabrera says, oh yeah, by the way, your stickers came. That's right. Awesome. If you would like some free Indian Jesus stickers, just email me your YouTube or Twitch, whatever name I would recognize you by. Just email the Indian Jesus official at gmail.com with your name and your address, and I'll send you some free stickers. I'm not going to send you any bullshit. I just want to make sure that just like Alex Jones, in case anything goes down, I always have contact with you. Welcome to the party. Thank you again. And I have the documents. Let's get back into it.
Austin.
Absolutely. I mean,
but you were already a successful salesman, so then you decided to find your way out of college.
Yeah, I'd had jobs when I was a kid. My dad had money and stuff. My parents were successful, and I would say I want new shoes. I want I want to get a new wakeboard because we were living on the lake, and my dad would say, well, then go get a job. So from the time I was about 13. I had jobs, and then I got into different sales. But the biggest thing is I was selling gym memberships and stuff when I was 18.
You want to look like this? You only are. He must have been quite a good salesman. I mean, he can sell the fact that the frogs are turning gay. So, yeah, whatever. As long as it'll take an envelope, then I'm just gonna put the address on and send it to you. I'll give you Discord now. Thank you very much, Premium. Appreciate it.
And I was making $150,000 a year, $200,000 a year. And then I was going to community college, figuring out if I wanted to go to main college. And it was just, you have radio, television, films. I thought I might want to do that because I wanted to be politically involved. And they were teaching 20-year-old stuff. I was like, you're not talking about the internet, these classes. Why am I here? Like, well, first you got to take all these other classes. So I started out on Access TV in 1994, got my own show in 95, got a website in 97, got a local radio show in 96. Called up satellite companies, bought the equipment. The station let me put in the connection to the satellite, syndicated myself when I was
in your early 20s just decided you're going to do all this.
Syndicated myself at 22, got on suddenly like 50 something radio stations. It was insane. Hit the national news immediately. Decided instead of selling coffee.
What were you talking about?
Well, instead of selling coffee mugs and like newsletters like other talk shows did to supplement their income, I said, I'm going to make films. And so I would go and show the UN taking over the national parks and show the UN signs and show what that treaty meant, that it was taking control of U.S. Land under UN treaties, kind of like the UN treaty on healthcare and things that's happening right now.
It's crazy how when you just have a normal conversation with somebody, even if they happen to have a little bit more extreme or frantic ideas, that if you just have a normal conversation, usually you can get a basic civil conversation out of anyone, including Alex Jones.
And so I just basically exploded onto the underground scene with conservatives and people that were aware of what was going on. And in about 1996, I was already reaching millions of people. And so it's been a long-term operation, 29 years on air.
Ever since.
Absolutely. We've
never stopped.
Not
as much as they tried, never stopped.
9/11 happened, and I questioned 9/11, and I was on almost 200 radio stations. I've been offered, by major companies, the next big Rush Limbaugh style deal. I guess Glenn Beck took that deal. Nothing against him, overall great guy, really smart.
Little dig there.
Went from almost 200 affiliates to 30-something affiliates in 1 month when 9/11 happened. And I wasn't for radical Islam, and I believe Islamists were involved, but I knew about the NORAD stand down. I knew about Building 7. I knew about a lot.
That was probably one of the biggest things that turned people on to Alex Jones was Building 7, the free fall, the obviously controlled demolition that was Building 7. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure that's the first thing that I heard from Alex Jones.
A lot of the stuff that I was talking to police about that were on the ground that they knew it was coming, bare minimum. Kind of like I'm against the attack on Israel and Hamas is terrible, but something like 85% in major polls of Israelis think the government knew and let it happen now. So it's the same thing. But when I said that then, the radio network owners I was on, GCN, came to me and they said, listen, we just lost 50 affiliates today. They're all going to dump you if you don't stop. And I said, well, it's the truth. I'm going to keep questioning it. So that just shows I never did this for monetary gain or just to be popular, though I do need monetary operations to fund my operation and be free and independent.
I said,
I'm not for sale. And so I've already been up and down. That's why when they deplatformed me and things and thought I would just give up, I didn't. So I started out on Access Television. And so
Zippy said, talk to some Navy engineers. Building 7 was not a demo job. All right, well, I everything that I've seen, I haven't looked too deep into it, but I'm just saying everything that I've seen points to at least something going a little awry, shall we say. So Premium, I'm actually, obviously doing the show right now, but I definitely will contact him after. Thank you very much. Glontek said, 9/11 was pretty much why I got into Alex Jones. I got so much hate for it, but I stuck to my guns to this day. That's what you got to do. People will tell you. People will tell you that you are crazy because you have some idea that's not the accepted idea. But how often do those accepted ideas turn out to be wrong? She's like, oh, it's the Navy. The Navy says, I guess it's legit. Navy's never lied before, right?
So I've started from the very mail room of media, and I've at one point.
Yeah, actually, wait a minute. Why Navy engineers? What does that have to do with it? Like, just a normal engineer or like a NASA engineer?
point in 2016, 17, much bigger show than Rush Limbaugh, much bigger show than Joe Rogan. Undoubtedly the number one independent, or not even independent, media show in the country. Over 30 million viewers and listeners. 2016, 2017.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that's when they deplatformed me because I was just number one. I mean, every day over 25 million listeners conservatively. And so that's when they said, well, we got to stop this guy. And then that's when the attacks came. But I've
25 million. 25 million. And this isn't where everybody can get access to your stream from their phone or whatever. Like, how many of you are on your, put a one in the chat if you're on your phone right now. There was no like easy access to this. Obviously it was on the radio, but you typically weren't listening to the radio in the 90s. And post 90s, you weren't really like sitting around listening to the radio unless you were in the car or maybe at home doing something. Maybe you're at work. But having 25 million people, that's a lot. That's a lot. Shout out to M169 in the building. Welcome to the party. Said, hate to say it, but this interview won't be good for Vivek. I have no issue with it. But most of the public has issues with Jones. So that is going to our running poll. Will this interview be good or bad for Vivek? Let me know. Replay gang, I am talking to you. In the comments, do you think this interview will be good or bad for Vivek? Do you agree with M169 or not? I actually think that it is going to be good for him. I think the fact that he sat down with Alex Jones and it didn't turn into something crazy. I mean, I haven't watched the whole thing. Assuming it doesn't turn anything too crazy. I think it'll be good for him. But I do not know. So he says, my bad, non-governmental naval engineers, structural analysis, etc. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. A bunch of people have different opinions. I don't understand why the Navy engineers would have more of a claim to authority than any other engineer. Rabbi said that's not true. Listening to the radio in the evenings was still a thing in the 90s. I'm just comparing it to the way that we interact with content and media. Like people weren't using the radio as an activity in the 90s as much as people are using YouTube and accessing podcasts and Spotify and stuff like that. It wasn't the same thing. So to get 25 million people tuning into that same thing, I think that's impressive. Shout out to Trey Williams. Welcome to the party. So I don't think they planned 9/11. They knew it was coming, basically. Yeah. Oh, well, we know that for sure. We know that they've got warnings and this and that. And again, it's been a while since I've looked into it, but that is definitely true. So he says steel and metal failure due to fuel fires. It's interesting structural engineering. Lots was covered in World War II. I'd say the building was built on the cheap. Wouldn't be the first time. But how did it? Why was it in free fall? Fires do not cause that level of destruction. You know what I mean? I would say that's how Howard Stern got as big as he got. Very true. Very true. No, I'm not saying that people weren't listening to the radio. Obviously, he just said that 25 million people were listening to him every day. What I'm comparing is the amount of what is 25 million views on a YouTube video versus 25 million listeners to a radio program. That's all I'm doing. I'm just comparing those two different things. I'm saying they're it's just different.
Survived that, and now we've rebuilt, and in many ways, so we're stronger than ever. We're definitely more influential.
Yeah. Well, you said,
well, there you go.
Motivation's not monetary. I do find that people who are successful, I can see you're passionate. What is that mission? What is it that calls you? I mean, you've been doing this now for a few decades now. You're clearly called by something.
Interesting question. And this is why I like to dive into these conversations where it's people that we know, but maybe they don't know each other as well. Because we have this parasocial relationship with Vivek. We have this parasocial relationship with Alex Jones where we kind of feel like we know him because we kind of do, but not really. Whereas these two, they don't have that relationship. They don't have that rapport built already. And so some of the fundamental questions that if you haven't been a fan of Alex Jones since day one, maybe you just never really heard of what's your goal here? What exactly are you trying to do here? And even if you kind of have a general idea, the way that he's going to answer that Very, very interesting. Yeah, the rabbi is saying the difference between the 90s and today is the regional audience versus the global audience. Global audience allows the global audience numbers allow a company like WWE, for example, to claim they have all-time high viewing numbers, despite the fact that their domestic numbers are at all-time lows. Well, again, that's going right into my point, is that we're pulling from. You're exactly right. The regional audience versus the global audience. So if you're syndicated, obviously you're going to have more reach than just being on one radio station. But if you're on YouTube, then you have the option of the global audience, or the global audience has the option of tuning in. And so all I was trying to do is compare the difference of getting 25 million people listening to a radio show in the 90s. If we're talking the 50s, the 40s, the 60s, before TV was really a thing, then again, that's very different. But 25 million people in the 90s on morning radio is a lot of people. Zippy said, yes, they do. It goes into yes, they do what? What do we do? They go into once a couple of top floors, so starts to take out the floors below. At the forces of play, but the fire would have then had to been only on the top floor, and then it would have had to spread equally throughout the entire building at the same rate for it to all happen like that. I don't know. I'm not really here to debate the conspiracies around 9/11, but I'm just saying that's how I got learned of Alex Jones. Shout out to Gold Holder. Welcome to the party. Howdy do indeed. Welcome.
What is it?
So he just Gold Holder, since you just dropped in, we got a great question from Vivek to Alex Jones about what really is his goal? What is he trying to accomplish? Which, again, maybe we kind of have a general idea, but I'm very interested to see how he answers this question.
Well, when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, friends and family would come to the house. My dad would be playing chess with them or poker, and I'd hear all these guys, FBI agents, Army colonels, spooks, talking about the New World Order and the global government, getting rid of the border and selling out America, and this plan for regional governments, and this plan for a computer to run everything. And then as I got older, I started seeing that in publications being pushed by the media, and then I read books by David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger, and really, for a few years when I got out of high school, would actually go to the UT library and actually pull up the microfilm. They're like, they would have the head librarian come out and say, we've never seen a young person come and ask for this to be pulled.
Yeah, smart. See, CT is thinking with his head. Talking about taking this conversation into the Discord server, where it is. We do have a free channel, but mainly the Discord server is open to channel members only. So hit that join button. It just starts at $2.99 a month, and you get access 24/7 access to the after party. And there's no time limits there. There's no filters. There's no anything like that. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. We don't have to worry about YouTube at all. Great idea.
Why are you looking up the New York Times? And they weren't upset. They thought it was cool. And there I was reading the New York Times in the 1970s, David Rockefeller praising Mao Zedong and saying, we need that here in America. What? Mao Zedong was the greatest mass murderer in history, about triple what Hitler and Stalin killed, more than what both men killed combined.
Yep. It's weird how, obviously, maybe it's not weird, because when we think about like the worst man in history ever, then obviously everybody goes to Hitler, and it makes sense because of the not only the scope, but the manner in which he carried out his bullshit, but like sheer numbers. Mao Zedong was up there, and not in a good way.
So I really started reading their plans for global government, cashless society, depopulation, the Club of Rome. I learned about the Bilderberg Group. I learned about Bohemian Grove, all these weird rituals and things. So I said, well, let me see if this is real. So, in 2000, I snuck in there. And sure enough, right when they said the ritual happened, they did this weird mock human sacrifice, Faustian / Babylonian, Canaanite, Moloch ritual. And Rituals are a common theme that we see over and over and over with people in power. And the first time I heard this stuff, I was like, you crazy, bro. You crazy. But the more you listen, it seems like a lot of the things that he says are only off by like 1 or 2 clicks.
It's like, well, I think maybe you're onto something, but I don't think it's that. But maybe it's something very, 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 very close to that. And certainly these crazy rituals we've gotten since he started talking about them. We've gotten video of it, and it's real. It's real. Contact said, "Just how big is your Alex Jones was right jar?" I should have one. I should have one, a physical one. But if I had a real one, it would be full. It would be full.
And so it was really the adventure of it and the mystery of it, being told this when I was growing up, kind of ignoring it, then seeing a lot of what I was told come true, and then getting into the books of the establishment, but also reading books that were countering it and saying, I want to find out if this is true. I want to find out if they're really doing this. I want to find out I remember they had all these military drills.
So yeah, before he goes into that, that's exactly what you would expect, but it's comforting in terms of your understanding of the landscape. When you hear that what drives Alex Jones is wanting to know the truth. It's just that simple. And maybe he has some odd ways of going about that, but that's genuinely what drives him. How can you hate that?
All over Texas and the country with black helicopters in the mid-90s. And when people would talk about it, they say that doesn't exist. So we got tips from the military, went and caught it on footage of them. They covertly lease a building that was going to be demolished later. Then they'd basically attack it and blow it up and do their training. It's okay. They need new training grounds. But then they would deny in the little town where it happened, or even the big city, that it just happened. So by then we were catching it on video. And whereas people had caught it on video before, there wasn't really web streaming of video. 96, 97, 98, that was all coming on board. And so we would go catch footage of that. So, it was really like ghost hunting, but hunting real ghost. And
I thought he was going to talk about how they were getting video of these exercises, and then the government or whoever was using the video from training stuff to do like false flag type stuff like that. I don't know. Golden Larson, I don't believe that's Alex Jones' intentions by any means. Has he covered the 5 dancing Israelis and the urban moving systems truck with explosives? I don't know. Has he?
And so I was basically doing private, independent, pro-American intelligence work for the people, and it was just super exciting. And because I was so prominent early on and was on shortwave and satellite and a bunch of radio stations, all these old timers sent me stuff. And the former head of the FBI in LA would come on the show and advise me, and General Benton K. Parton, the former head of the Air Force Weapons Development, would come on. And so I really, starting at about 96, 97, got the brain trust of all these heavy hitters who on their own dime would fly to Austin.
I would pay for ghost hunting with Alex Jones.
Or driving their RVs. The former head of the Star Wars program, Dr. Bob Bowman, they'd get in their RVs and drive from wherever they lived. And sometimes they'd stay at my house.
This is why you need a Joe Rogan whenever Alex Jones is in the room, because he has so much just information, correct or incorrect, just floating around his brain that he connects this, that, and this name and that date and this operation and that. And it's very hard to follow him. It's very hard to follow. So what I'm looking for now is, as he's gone, because remember, the question was, what drives you? And he said that, I want to know the truth about this. And then now he's moving on to this issue, into that issue, to that issue. I'm looking to see, okay, how is Vivek going to respond to this? How is he going to bring this back down to a relatable conversation that is going to look good for Vivek? Because again, even that's still our running poll. Is this an interview going to be good or bad? And obviously, it depends on how the interview goes. And so now we're getting into some rambling madman territory. Can he save it? Can he save it? Can Vivek save it? Kohler said official police reports involved. They were documenting the impact somewhere on this planet. There's footage of both planes. I think I'm getting lost in y'all's conversation. Guam Tech said interdimensional demon hunting with Uncle Alex. I'd pay for it.
And we do a week on air, them just data dumping, because they've been trying to write books and magazine articles and little obscure things. And so I was thrown right in the middle of this excitement, and it was interesting and it was fun. And back then it was more academic. Yeah, the globalists were getting a lot of things done, but I'd read stuff in the mid-90s about they plan to ban beef, and they plan to have a carbon credit, and they plan to track everywhere you go with switches in your cars. And
how crazy.
they plan to listen to you through microphones in your cable box. And then we bust a cable box open with an engineer on my local TV show, and there'd be the microphone with the schematics and just
shout out to Doodad Attack. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see ya. Zippy said, I'm not fond of the conspiracy talking heads. It's like reality TV, but the point is not truth or fact, but to make you think. Terrible. Making people think? If you have any critical thinking, you won't take it as fact like the left. Well, that's just not a fair thing, because it's more right-wing people who follow people like Alex Jones and whatever he says. Not just saying, oh, Alex Jones was right about this, Alex Jones was right about that, but, oh, Alex Jones said it, so it must be right. There's way more people on the right like that than the left. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Come on. Older said, you'll have to look it up. It's buried in the facts of 9/11, the actual facts. This is why Alex Jones is a fraudster evangelist for you. What? So one more like, and we're at 10. Come on. Thank you, sir.
And of course, now they're like, oh, that's voice analysis. That's a voice prompt. But they didn't tell you for a decade that was in there. So it was just so exciting to be in a war in my own country against these multinational corporations that wanted to take America over. And so I was always saying, is it real? Is it real? And I got to tell you, 95% of what the old timers told me, because these old timers were just like my uncle and just like some other family, what they've been telling me, but a lot of these guys were even higher up in it. Mm. And so I learned from people that were on the inside what was going on. So I had a long education over the last 29 years. This has really been an education. Mm-hmm. And so
it's such a long answer. But I think CT is exactly right. You got to speculate some to get to the truth. And yes, a lot of Alex Jones's, character is throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. I'm not saying that that's the best way to find truth. I'm not saying everybody should do that. But the fact that we have an Alex Jones who's willing to do that will uncover some truth that we otherwise would not have found.
I just get deeper and deeper into my understanding of how it all interconnects.
What I'm hearing is the story of a journalist.
Yes.
Ooh. Guy who's curious.
Ooh, smooth like butter. After all of that. And Vivek comes back with this. Brilliant job.
This has really been an education.
He's just going off. And it's been how long since Vivek has even said anything? A good 5 straight minutes of Alex Jones just being Alex Jones.
And so I just get deeper and deeper into my understanding of how it all interconnects.
What I'm hearing is the story of a journalist.
Beautiful. What I'm hearing is the story of a journalist. Now, this is, again, when we look to the idea of how is this interview going to make Vivek look, the ability to take all of that and spin it into something that is not untrue, but is charismatically descriptive in a positive way. A lot of that's a skill. And the Alex Jones haters are just gonna, there's no way that they're gonna like this. But I don't know, if you can't appreciate that, then I don't know what to tell you. That was awesome. Zippy said, are the Alex Jones cults suing people into the ground, breaking the normal rules of courts to go after people? The right has issues, but they do try and leave people alone more than the left, at least. Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm just saying the conspiracy theory is not a left-wing thing. It's just not. Trust me, I'm here ready to bash lefties whenever it's necessary or whenever it's appropriate. But just saying, oh, I don't like these conspiracy things because that's what the leftists do, like, that just doesn't fit. CT said, if Vivek can get the first stable, normal Alex Jones interview, I feel like that will be good for him. Absolutely. And so far, taking all of that and being able to twist it into, oh, okay, that's what he just said. Because how many people through that 5 minutes kind of just tuned out, especially without me kind of being like, oh, that was, that happened. If you're just watching this, how many people kind of just, tuned out? And he brings about, what I'm hearing is the story of a journalist. Beautiful. Goldholder said, yeah, I was an InfoWars fanboy for way too long. That is nothing to be ashamed of. As long as you get that, like, okay, this maybe shouldn't be my top source of news, then you're all right. You are definitely all right. Beautiful. Let's hear it one more time.
deeper and deeper into my understanding of how it all interconnects.
What I'm hearing is the story of a journalist.
Exactly, Quantum Tech. Exactly.
Yes.
Guy who's curious, records things, describes them, and shares them with people. Now, let me ask you a question. I'll tell you where I'm going with this. You're in this to seek underlying truth that other people aren't getting to. That's what I'm hearing you and telling your story. Now, once in a while, that means you're going to find something that looks like it's going to be one way. It wasn't exactly the way you thought, and so maybe you were wrong.
I've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and so what do you do in that scenario? Let's say you're a journalist, because I know how mainstream media deals with it right now. That's a different way. They sweep it under the rug.
I was gonna say, yeah, they're just like, oh, what? We never said that. I don't know what you're talking about. You're a conspiracy theorist.
Let's say you're wrong, and you realize that you had one thesis and you were getting to the bottom of it, but then you get to the hard facts and you say, hey, you were wrong about it. Give me an example of where that happened, actually. I think that's kind of interesting.
Well,
again, a great question, because another aspect of this interview is there's people out here like us who are aware of the hate that Alex Jones gets, but also understands that there is redeeming qualities. There are things that we can learn and benefit from listening to Alex Jones, just again, as long as we don't take him as a legitimate leader of current events and stuff like that. He's more of an investigative journalist in that realm. But he's Alex Jones, so he's a little bit out there. But those of us who understand that there is some redeeming quality, then when Vivek can pull that out of him, then that, like Wamtek said, not only shows that he's engaged in the conversation, but he's engaged in people. He's interested in looking for positivity in people. And in the political landscape that we have now, where everything is just blame that person, this person did this to me, I'm oppressed by that person or that group or whatever, that is very, very, very refreshing to me. Very refreshing. CT said, feels like that soundbite is going to get memes like crazy. What I'm hearing is the story of a journalist. Might be. All right, where we are.
Wrong about it. Give me an example of where that happened. Actually.
You're wrong, baby. You're wrong.
Also, what I've noticed is they've had a lot of national TV characters like Homeland and the newer X-Files that came out in 2016.
Real quick aside, the first season of Homeland was awesome. It was awesome. I got somewhere, I fell off mid season 2, but the first season is about this dude who was, in the, Iraq, Afghanistan war. I don't remember exactly what, and he comes back home and you're not sure if he was turned and he's a traitor, or if he's not. And that's part of, back and forth. Amazing. And then it just fell apart. I am so mad that Homeland did not, well, maybe it redeemed itself. If any of you guys watch Homeland and it redeemed itself, please let me know.
Where they admit it's based on me. And,
oh, really?
And
Homeland?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
that's awesome.
A bunch of them. You look it up. And they'll create this straw man where I'm lying on purpose and I'm getting things wrong on purpose. I never admit I'm wrong. I always, when I said I thought I knew something and I was wrong, I always admitted it. And so,
give me an example.
In the case of Sandy Hook, long before they sued me, long before they came after me, I barely talked about it. If you look at my live as a timeline, at first I thought it was official and thought it happened. Then some professors and people came out with a bunch of anomalies and thought it might have been staged. Just like
this is not an easy Google. If anybody can find me a list of shows like NCIS or X-Files or any of those things where the episodes are listed, he said you can look it up. And he's not a liar, right? So if anybody can find that, I will be greatly appreciated.
People are questioning whether Hamas cut babies' heads off right now. Yeah. That's the big thing going on. And I don't think there's really proof to that. But they blow them up, they shoot them. It's the same thing.
That's something I never understood. Is it that much of a difference if you're just killing babies versus beheading them? I guess theoretically, taking a video where you're beheading them is some degree worse. But is not beheading them and just killing them less of an egregious offense, so much so that it's going to change how we're going to react to it? What are we talking about? Goldwasser said, speaking of Homeland, there was a great interview Pierce did with a pro-Palestinian comedian where he referred to Israel as Homelander. Shout out to the boys. If you're not watching Gen V, watch Gen V. Watch Gen V. You don't have to have seen the boys. It's better if you have seen the boys. If you haven't seen the boys, watch the boys. But that is what's good. CD said, quote, Homeland's based off me. So is Mission Impossible and Jack Ryan. I have all the documents.
So now people are on Twitter saying, oh, we need to sue the people that said they cut babies' heads off, or we need to sue the people that say it didn't happen, because you're not allowed to debate, was Jussie Smollett really attacked, which we now know that was fake, or so many of these other events like Operation Northwoods and things where the government did plan to do atrocities or did plan to stage atrocities and blame on
you're just a conspiracy theorist,
an enemy. And so with that, I started saying, 2 or 3 years before I got sued, I said, I don't want to talk about this. I think the people that said this, it turns out, are lunatics. I think the info they put out, they were professors and school safety experts. I found some of what they said, the anomalies, wasn't true. I think school shootings happen. And because every time there was a school shooting, people would say, Alex Jones is saying this isn't happening, whether it was Parkland, any of that. So I was saying, no, I think this happens.
Because remember, this is before he really got in trouble for the Sandy Hook stuff. There was a lot of talk about crisis actors, and there was proof. There was the documents where we would see the same person, at this school on this side of the country, and then something would happen, and that same person would be there. And I'm certainly not saying anything is fake or not fake or anything. I'm just saying the same person was at 2 different school pew-pewings. Do with that what you will.
Happening. And then the media and the system went, oh, he's weak on that, because they would sweep it under the rug if they were wrong. Let's get him. So then they
get him.
Then they resurrected it. I was deplatformed for other stuff. I mean, look it up. Then they resurrected.
Look at those pit stains. Woo-wee. Woo-wee.
It, and then blew up a straw man of things I didn't say or do with no proof. I went to their houses, sent people to their houses, peed on graves, no proof.
Yeah, so this goes back to what he's originally talking about, is that not only when you get deplatformed that you can't say what you want, but they can say about you whatever they want. And because you've been deplatformed, then people they don't need to see a clip. They don't need to see a quote. You tell them, hey, he peed on graves. And they just believe it. Well, it's Alex Jones, I guess, must be true.
Then they sue me. They get all the discovery.
Did you ever do any of those things?
No, of course not. There's
fair to ask.
Goldholder said the media can't admit they use crisis actors in place of actual victims, because then there would be 100% skepticism on all reportings, kind of like most of us have right now. We've seen the clips. We've seen, even with smaller stuff as well. You'll probably remember, might have been during Katrina, but I don't even remember. It doesn't really even matter. CNN was doing a report where a guy was in a kayak, and they were trying to act like the flooding was so bad in whatever area that he had to use a kayak, and then 2 dudes just walked by. And it's like, why? We've seen pictures of people who are in apartment buildings where they're doing a news piece in the city somewhere. And somebody's in an apartment, and they take a video of the news camera being set up here, and then they have all the people being set up real tight and close to make it seem like it's really crowded, and they zoom the camera in, and it makes it seem like there's this huge thing going on when it's 12 people standing there specifically for the reporting. So if you don't have 100% skepticism on all reportings as is, you're dumb. You're dumb. You're dumber than dumb. You have to have 100% skepticism on all reportings, on everything from everywhere. Shout out to Nick Luchetti. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, Nick. Welcome, buddy.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Never even been to Connecticut till I was there for court.
So where are they getting this kind of nonsense? Just make it up.
Yep.
I mean, that's all. The thing is, I cover stories and then I move on. Mm-hmm. So they introduced in court like 22 minutes of video of me over 10 years on Sandy Hook. That was it. It was not something we made money off of. It was not something that was even a big deal. We had like one debate where somebody thought it happened, didn't thought it happened, to 2 newspaper editors. Callers were calling about it sometimes. It was a big viral story up front. People questioned it like 11 years ago. I didn't get sued for like 6 years later.
Until long after you had already said, "Hey, I wasn't necessarily right on that one. I wasn't."
Oh, I said I thought. I think shootings happen. I think it happened. And I mean, if people track this, it's just amazing how it works.
So you it's interesting. So this is after years later, after you admitted you were wrong on it, that they chose to come after you.
Yes, and then the judges in Texas and Connecticut, defaulted me, which is supposed to be if you never show up for court and you're not there, they can default you. And this is all on the record, just like the Trump judge, they passed a law in New York. So it's not called a default, but it's the same thing. The judge doesn't give him a jury, and the judge has found Trump in the real estate fraud case has found him guilty.
I heard in that though that was a clerical mistake on Trump's side, that he elected for no jury trial. I don't know if that's true, but does anybody know anything about that?
Got the loans, paid the loans. Obviously, Mar-a-Lago is not worth 18 million; it's worth hundreds of millions.
Yep.
The judge says no, it's not. I find that fraud, and the appeals court had to block him taking his hotels and golf courses in New York. One judge, no jury, said, "I'm taking everything you've got in New York, and we're going to take more stuff."
And I believe this, if we're talking about the same judge, this was the judge that ran on getting Donald Trump out of office, getting him indicted, getting him locked up, whatever she could do. Now, again, I don't know if it's the exact same case, because there's a billion of them going on right now. But Guam Tex, that's exactly why Trump's fake news talking points were so important. I feel like that was the first time the majority actually really questioned the news they're watching on a mass scale. Yep. And some of us were not even smart enough to realize when the dude is saying, "Hey, it's fake news." And what did at the time, I was never Trumper. So what did people like me say? You're a conspiracy theorist. And then we voted for Hillary Clinton.
How dare you?
Outside the state. And Trump said, "I would like a jury trial." And they said no. So I had a jury trial, but they found me guilty. The judge did, and they would not let us put on evidence.
See, this is what we need Harley back for. I need a fact check on whether or not it's Trump's fault or Trump's team's fault that they didn't have a jury in that case.
It was only a trial on damages. They put on a financial expert and said he's worth $400 million. I had like $3 million in the bank at the time, or emergency backup money. That's gone now. And then they put me through, they told the bankruptcy court I had all this money. And of course, it was proven I told the truth. Obviously, I go to jail if I lied in there. And they don't care, because they said, "We want to take him off the air. We want to silence him. We want to end his free speech."
And this is exactly what they're doing now to Trump. They've set a precedent that, okay, we can do this to people. So, okay, maybe you can't start with a president, but hey, you take this tinfoil hat guy that everybody's already primed to dislike, and then you tie it together, and now a sitting president can be banned off of Twitter and, the whole list. Come on. Golders said, "I heard Trump didn't want to contest the charges in court, so they skipped it." I don't know. Yeah, there's too much fake news around that for me to understand exactly what's happening. I think it's going to take at least a year for the real, the real facts of the matter to come out and be established, if that.
These are quotes that they said in Connecticut, in the court, outside the court, and in Texas, inside out the court. So I want to move on from that, because there's bigger things than me. But this weaponization of the judiciary, Giuliani was basically defaulted in New York.
Yep.
Because there wasn't evidence they were asking for. The judge just said, "You're guilty." Fox, in its January 6th
What is
case,
this defaulting business?
They have in law.
What does that mean?
A default means it's called.
I should know this.
It's called the death penalty.
being somebody.
I'm glad he doesn't, though, because I didn't know, and I wasn't going to go look up what is defaulting and whatever. So, thank you, Vivek.
Well, you shouldn't know.
As a lawyer.
And you know what? That's another point here where he's been talking and saying this thing about defaulting, and they did the same thing to Trump, and he could have easily just let it move on. He could have just brushed right by it and just brought it to a space where not only is it going to bring up topics that Vivek wants to talk about for his campaign, but also areas where he just would look better because he'd know what he's talking about. But he's engaged in the conversation. He's speaking with the person he's engaged with.
not supposed to be used.
But I don't know about it.
It's called a death penalty sanction.
Okay.
And so if they say you don't participate in a civil trial,
yeah, I don't think I know what defaulting on your loans means. I don't think that's what this is. So yeah, he's explaining it. Let's see.
Okay.
And so if they say you don't participate in a civil trial, the judge can find you guilty by default. They still have to have a trial on the damages. They didn't even give me a real trial on the damages. So this is a fraud on America and is very dangerous. And they're defaulting people across the board now.
So it sounds like it's supposed to be similar to like if you get a speeding ticket and you go to court and the cop doesn't show up, then they'll dismiss the case. It sounds like what he's saying is that they, by some procedural thing, they can by default call you, deem that you're guilty without even seeing evidence or anything. That's what it sounds like he's talking about. But again, please fact check me on that.
If you don't show up.
Yeah, but I did. And then and with me, they said, well, you didn't give us the discovery because it didn't exist. They said, show us the marketing material for San Diego. I don't do marketing material for shows. I look at a bunch of news articles, some video clips. I go on air. I didn't do a marketing study with you for this.
So it sounds like, as it's getting a little bit clearer, it sounds like they were asking for something that didn't exist. And because it didn't exist, and they're saying, well, you didn't give us what we asked for. So by default, you lose.
This is new to me.
We talked for 2 minutes. We talked for 2 minutes before we went on there, right?
You maybe 2 minutes, a minute,
a minute and a half. He walks in, boom, sits down.
Just get on there. Yeah. But
no.
This is new
the judge
to me,
says, give me the
How is that relevant?
marketing material. Vivek, tell me about your plan with Alex. Tell me about the secret plans you guys had in this thing. All the marketing, all the Google Analytics. Tell me about your meeting.
Yeah. It's
Wait a minute. You're not going to give me the evidence? You're defaulted.
I'm just gonna say I'm personally a little bit blushing here. I don't even know about this legal procedure.
That's because they're not supposed to use it.
But they're literally so it's not.
So before they go on, that was not handled nearly as well as what I'm hearing is the story of a journalist. What I would have liked to see is to obviously, and this is something that guys do all the time. I don't know if girls do this, but you kind of like play out a scenario as a joke. And it's just like you'll play your part and they'll play that part. Like, oh, I'm doing this. So he's clearly Alex Jones is playing the part of the judge, demanding the secret meeting marketing files of the podcast that we're watching right now, which obviously don't exist. And because they don't exist, then Vivek in this fake trial is going to get defaulted, as they've just been talking about. But Vivek's like, wait, what? What are we doing? What are we doing?
You're defaulted.
I'm just gonna say I'm personally a little bit blushing here. I don't even know about this legal procedure.
That's because they're not supposed to use it.
But
see, that definitely could have been handled better. But again, we're specifically nitpicking these little things because this man might just be, if not the president, he might be the vice president. Goldholder said, I think all these ridiculous court cases are just a way to propaganda scare the public from pursuing patriotic and entrepreneurship. They are trying to dismantle the global economy after all. Yep, that's very, very possible. Very, very possible. Propaganda to scare the public away from pursuing patriotic entrepreneurship. What, the American government? They would never do that. Come on. Oh, man. The American government? No.
But they're literally, so it's not even that you don't show up and you default.
That's what it's supposed to be.
It's if you're not participating in the process.
Yes.
According to the standards that they set.
And they set a bar you can't reach.
Judge. I'm going to go back and learn the heck about this. Because if what you described is true, that is a real danger to the integrity of the judicial system. I'm going to,
and that's the cutting edge.
Independently learn about this myself.
Yeah. So the Soul is saying, I think all in all, this is showing that Vivek is generally respectful, listens, and is present. Unlike Bill Maher, as we covered with Candace Owens just on the last stream, unlike Bill Maher, he isn't just waiting his turn to speak. So this conversation should be a positive. Should. Right now, our poll is sitting at an even 50-50. If you have not voted, please let me know. I am dying to know what you think. And if you are watching this on the replay, do you think this is going to be good or bad for Vivek? Goldner said, whose podcast are we showing, Vivek? Yep, this is the Truth Podcast. This is so he's had on Zuby. We were gonna cover that, but other stuff came up. He had the last guy was shoot, I forget who it was, but James O'Keefe has been on, and then we also covered when Libs of TikTok was on. He's doing the damn thing. He's putting himself out there. He's having conversations that matter to people, and it's a shame that there is this competition within our own minds, at least some of us, between the voting your conscience and thinking that Vivek would be a better president, and understanding the landscape that MAGA is just so strong right now, that and that Trump's not a bad president. So why mess with that? Like, at the end of the day, I would much rather vote for Vivek, but I just don't think that he could win over Trump. But absolutely, he could win over any Democrat they're going to put out there. So there's a weird, not hope. It's not a hope. It's a weird just thought that, entertaining the idea that if Trump does get taken off the ballot, we got Vivek. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not saying that it should happen. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm saying if it does happen, we should all be rallying around Vivek. I think if Trump is taken off the ballot, then it shouldn't even be a question. The MAGA message should be Vivek or bust. Shout out to Stephanie Miller. Welcome to the party. So that would be ideal. Trump for 4 years with Vivek as VP, and then him for 8. That should get us back on track. Yep. And Guam Tech also totally agrees. I think that would be amazing. But welcome to the party, Stephanie.
The point is, they can default you even if the judge deems you not actively or sufficiently participating in discovery.
Yes.
In a civil trial. Depends on which state, I suppose.
Just like I was telling people, hey, the Justice Department, the CIA are involved. It was in government documents running the censorship of us. In the last 6 months, it came out in Congress. People thought, oh, yeah, I know it's on the air showing them the legislation, showing them the funding.
I do think that Rand Paul, where he is now, is probably best served in Congress. I don't know that he would be as I just think he's more effective, or he's very effective there. So I mean, I definitely like him. For sure. But I don't know if it's worth messing up that he's got that position. Stephanie Miller says, if Trump is taken off the ballot, we may have bigger problems. Yeah, I mean, that's very true. But I'm just saying, when it comes to just the presidency, at least we got Vivek.
For the ministries of truth and all this stuff, I'm telling people they're defaulting everybody. They defaulted Trump by the law. How does a judge do this and take what you've got? They're defaulting everybody else where the judge finds you guilty. So you see the headlines, Trump already guilty in New York.
And then it's just jury trial for damages.
Yes, but in Trump's case, just like they passed the law so that woman could sue him saying he sexually assaulted her, they changed the laws, to go back decades. New York has passed a law where judges, it's not even default, it's a new form of it, where the judge just says you don't get a jury trial.
See, this one's very concerning to me because
I said shit.
A lot of what's happened in the country is very concerning, but the judicial system is the last bastion.
Absolutely. If we can't have we know that the justice system is not perfect. It is not clean. It's based on how much money you have, and a lot of times it's based on what color you are. I'm as much as I hate identity politics, we're not going to pretend that that racism doesn't exist in the judicial system. But it's so important that we focus on those things, because even if there's cracks in the system elsewhere, it's supposed to be the judicial system that is the foundation that prevents you falling completely through that crack. So maybe you get arrested falsely for something because you look like this guy and you're in the same area and whatever. The judicial system is supposed to be that which is in place to make sure that if you're not the guy, that you're not the guy, and you can prove it. You get your day in court. But when we see so much corruption, Stephanie was talking about bigger problems. If this is all going to go through the DOJ. So absolutely, Trump gets taken off the ballot, we have definitely have a bigger problem specifically within the judicial system. So last year, I actually would have said DeSantis after Trump, but this year, he has DeSantis. Yep. Now, do I think that DeSantis would be a bad president? No, but you've just done too many little things that maybe look at you with a side eye when it comes to being the leader. The leader? If we had nobody else, I'd be like, all right, word. But as long as we got Trump, as long as we got Vivek, then it ain't happening. It ain't happening, homie. Ain't happening. Desanctimonious. Ain't no Vivek this snake, though. Oh, I love the names. Sammy Miller said, but calling racist on everything, we could see the actual racism.
What?
Huh? Thank you.
Of protection.
Totally weaponized.
Yep.
It's the last frontier for us to be able to say, okay, executive branch badly taken over by three-letter agencies that nobody ever elected with any backstop of political accountability. Forget about Congress. Think about prosecutorial power in the executive branch abused. But the judicial system is our last best hope for the last ultimate line of defense. But if that itself can sidestep basic principles of confronting witnesses,
which again is something that's not new. The corruption in the justice system is not new. We are just seeing the effects of a broken and corrupt system rearing its head years and years and years later after these issues where people were aware of them. People know of these issues, and it's just not attended to because the people in power don't care. It doesn't hurt them. So whatevs.
Basic principles of being judged by a jury of your peers rather than by a single judge. This is basic First Amendment, was a Bill of Rights,
and that's why they still did
stuff.
That's why they still did the damages show trial, where people said his lawyers are terrible. Alex Jones is no, they weren't. They were given a list of things like you can't say you're innocent, you can't say you can't question the witnesses about this or that.
Shout out to Bill Bradley. Welcome to the party. So the judicial system is so overwrought. The feds have to take a level of power the Constitution never intended for them to have on the back of the courts upholding those attempts against challenges. It's just too much. Too much power in the wrong places. Welcome to the party, brother. Stephanie Miller said, I meant if we could stop calling everything racist, we could see what really is racist. Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the word has lost all meaning. The word has lost all meaning because if everything is racist, then nothing is racist. And we know that nothing is racist, but we certainly know that everything is not racist. So what exactly is this thing that we're saying when we say that is racist? It used to mean that you were judging somebody based on the color of their skin or their ethnicity or something like that, and you were being prejudiced or bigoted. But now it's just you disagreed with a black person or you exist as a white person or any of those things can be called racism. Glum thinks that maybe the first time I've disagreed with Vivek. Okay. People believe there are three branches of government, but they always forget about the power of the unruly mob to get shit done when all else fails. Okay. I mean, that's very true. I don't necessarily, I see where you're coming from. That's the mob is certainly not the fourth branch of the government. I see where you're coming from, but what is the disagreement? I don't think that Vivek would disagree with this at all. So what did he say? That this is a disagreement to.
Can't say you're innocent. You can't say you can't question the witnesses about this or that. So when they're up there with here's an example. There was an FBI agent in Connecticut, never saw his name, never showed his picture, never talked about him. I didn't talk about him. He got up there and said, I got one phone call by somebody asking if I was really an FBI agent because he was there without his FBI vest at Sandy Hook, holding a gun by the barrel. The internet questioned him. I didn't know who he was. He sued me, won $90+ million. Never said his name. So here's how this works.
Wait. What?
Holding a gun by the barrel. The internet questioned him. I didn't know who he was. He sued me, won $90+ million.
hopefully we'll get a little more information on that. But Bradley says, I mean, the fourth estate is supposed to be the news media, but they are bought and paid for as well, unfortunately. Hell yeah, the ungathered army. Let's go, let's go. That's a tongue twister. Yep. Guantex, so the judicial branch is the last hope. Granted, I'm a bit cheeky about it. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. You have to be, because it's your last hope. Kind of. It may not be a hope at all, but if there is hope, it's the last one.
Never said his name. Never said his name. So here's how this works.
Yeah, please tell me how this works.
With most people, I can come on here, and if people like this, they go, I'll go find Alex Jones' show on X or on Facebook or on the podcasting thing. Mm-hmm. I've been delisted from everywhere. So I have to sit here and point out to viewers, if you want to find what I'm actually saying, InfoWars.com/show. And in normal etiquette for a talk show, that's like somebody pitching themselves. No, I'm isolated, surrounded, can only communicate when people like you let me out of prison to walk in the yard for a little while. And I can desperately try to, get messages out by smoke signals to people about what's happening to me, which they admit is the model to shut everybody else down. So you're a smart guy.
The model to shut everyone else down. What did I just say about setting precedent to now attack the president? Precedent and president, different words.
Well, the smartest, and everybody knows that's true. I'm not just saying it. I hope you'll go look into this, and I hope you'll find out about it, because it is incredible. It is, because
I've already learned something today. That's frightening. Now,
there's so many bigger things than me. I mean, there's these wars, and there's the cashless society, and the open borders, and the
15-minute cities,
and all the race baiting. I mean, we're being divided and conquered. That's why your message of coming together to celebrate our hard-fought American freedoms is so essential.
Well, one of the things that's true about the American way is that we're not founded on moderate ideals. Right, the ideals that set this country into motion. I love that we have a map behind us. Right,
I was actually going to say the same thing, that, but it seems like he's going in a different direction, because he's talking about moderate ideals, and I was going to point out that, hey, America is a very radical idea in and of itself. So I mean, yes, there is we want to have a normalization of our lives. We don't constantly want to be in flux, but let's not forget that the American experiment in and of itself is a very not modern thing. Context said, "Oh, come on, Alex.
Come on, man.
We know you be using carrier pigeons rather than smoke signals. The government can trace that shit. Okay, I have the documents." Bowler said 15 minutes is about how long cities will last when the boom boys go flying. So the Soul said, it astounds me how so many leftists don't think long enough to realize everything they are cheering for that is being done to Trump couldn't be done to them too. Dangerous precedents indeed. First, what's the saying? When they came for these people, I said nothing. And they came for those people, I said nothing. And then they came for me, and there was nobody left. There was nobody left to stick up for me, because I kept quiet and didn't stick up for my principles as they were being trampled in other people. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Bradley said, totally free speech is an extreme ideal relative to all other places on the planet. Even in Europe, hate speech laws are common, and in essence, thought crimes.
Bingo.
So I'm saying this whole thing. So I do want to see where he's going with this idea of moderate ideals, because I think today we are at a place where we would like to get to a more moderate place in general. Moderation would be good for America in general. But we have to remember who we are, what we stand for, and what values brought us to the dance. And that, the American experiment is under attack. So we can't just be moderate. But again, I don't want to put words in his mouth. So let's see where he's going with it. Real quick, Guamtech said, I don't know. I just see Alex being into training birds to do his bidding. Fair enough. Hey, we got Xander Crew. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see you. Said Alex Jones is a goddamn American hero. He's been right about tons and is probably enemy number one of the deep state, alongside Trump, Tesla, Kennedy, Assange, etc. I pray for his protection often. Welcome to the party with a message like that. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. All right, so let's run this back a little bit. We're talking about moderate ideals, which is not what this country was built on.
Well, one of the things that's true about the American way is that we're not founded on moderate ideals.
Okay. He's saying we're not founded. Oh, right. Okay. I heard that wrong. All right.
Right. The ideals that set this country into motion. I love that we have a map behind us, right? Old world England had a different view. And let's just smoke it out. We could say agree or disagree before we get to the agree or disagree. At least let's get the best.
Let's just pigeon it out.
Version of the view on the table, which is that people, ordinary people, cannot be trusted to sort out their differences on climate change or racial injustice or whatever it was back in that era.
Can't we know? I think so. But maybe not.
For their own good. It's not just that the kings or the aristocrats say, hey, I want to enrich myself and do it at the expense of the people. That's what many who are frustrated with monarchy might say.
It's an arrogance.
But it's actually an arrogance founded in what they think of as benevolence, right? Which is to say,
an arrogance found in what they think of as benevolence. I don't know what that means. Hold on. I don't want to get lost here.
Arrogance for itself and do it at the expense of the people. That's what many who are frustrated with monarchy might say.
It's an arrogance.
Gotcha. But it's actually an arrogance founded in what they think of as benevolence.
Gotcha. So okay, he's talking about, the idea of monarchy is arrogance that I'm, chosen. And because I'm chosen, I'm going to make everything, I'm going to rule in a good way. Obviously, that's not how all kings and queens have been, but the idea is founded in benevolence.
Right, which is to say that, no, we're not doing this for us, for our power. And we'll come to the modern version of this in a second. We're doing this for the sake of people who cannot be trusted and left to their own devices because it's for them we're doing it, which is even more dangerous than somebody who comes in and says, oh, we're just doing it for my own private personal gain. No. That's not the view. The view is the people cannot be trusted to sort out their differences through free speech. I mean, the idea you get to speak your mind as long as I get to in return. The idea that there's a republic where your
and that's
vote
why
and
they
my
can't
vote count
compete
equally.
Because the rest of the world starts aspiring to that. You've got to bring that down so people stop aspiring. So that British Empire model, now the BlackRock global banking empire, which they admit with the ESGs, everything. You're absolutely dead on. And if you expand on that.
But I just want to get the view on the table so people understand, because there's a lot wrong with it. But at least
so Bill Bradley here has a good one. It said benevolent arrogance equals the ignorant masses can't be trusted. They think they're the intelligent ones that have to shepherd the masses into the future.
Bingo.
Absolutely. That's exactly what he's saying. And so juxtaposing that ideology, that way of thinking, that way of saying this is how it should be, comparing that to America. As we said, arrogance founded in what they believe is benevolence. The slaves will be happy because we say so. Yep, you got it.
At least to understand, put yourself the way I am, Alex, is you could try something on like a set of clothes.
I agree.
And then see if
any
it
good
fits.
general gets in the mind of the enemy.
Yes, yeah, and then you say, okay, here I got to understand why it fits. I got to really try it on. Understand why it doesn't fit. Then it doesn't fit. You put it back on the rack. Then you understand your own views.
Well, that's right. This laissez-faire competitive system is way more sexy. And in 1950, we had half the world's wealth. We were 4% of the population. Now we become global.
That is sexy.
And crony capitalists.
Give me those facts again. Sorry, you're going pretty fast there. That sounds interesting.
Come on. I was trying to use the sound effects on the time. All right.
1950, the United States had half the wealth in the world.
Is that right?
Because of our invention.
Immediately post-World War II.
Yeah, absolutely. Post-World War II, we had half the world's wealth, and we were 4% of the world's population.
As measured by GDP, probably.
As measured by GDP.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the GDP of the world. What is it today? I should know these things.
It's gone down a lot. I think it's in the late high 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, sounds about right. Maybe a quarter to a third.
Well, that's cute. 4%. Come on.
I haven't looked at it in a while, but what I'm getting at here is what you said is so dead on. In fact, I need to make that point more. You can pull these clips up. Remember when Obama
What's Zog?
went to Latin America the last few months of his administration?
Term, yep.
Then he went to a bunch of countries in Africa, and he gave the same speech, Vivek, in every country. He said, quote, "You can't have cars and air conditioning. The world's going to heat up and burn up." Now, here's a guy flying on a giant jet with dozens of aircraft. After that, he has private jets. He has houses at basically sea level in Martha's Vineyard and Hawaii, though he said we were already supposed to be underwater by 2017, though they keep just buying Al Gore, all of them, oceanfront property, right? Not up on cliffs or something.
Shout out to Al Gore. Just kidding.
Like Martha's Vineyard.
They're bearing that cross.
Absolutely.
They're bearing that cross for the rest of us.
Well, I mean, that's it. They're on private jets. People like Ted Turner has like 5 kids. He says, "I want to depopulate 90% of the world's population." Look it up. Him on Charlie Rose. Well, he has 5 kids. He has jets. He has palatial compounds. But you in Africa.
Yeah, it's nearly a third. So why do we need globalism again? We don't.
You can't aspire. You need to live in this will eat the bugs, WEF, rationing for the good of the earth, while the ruling class lives like kings and goes around in their giant super yachts
to mountaintops in Davos
with carbon footprints thousands of times an American, and an American's carbon footprint is 30, 40, 50 times than somebody in Congo.
Yep.
So in Congo,
make sure you turn your air conditioning down to 78 in the summer, because that's gonna fix it all. Don't worry about China. Don't worry about India. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Don't worry about planes. Don't worry about manufacturing. Just turn your air conditioning down, and it's gonna fix everything. It's gonna fix everything. We got what do we got going on here? So Goldman said all that wealth was war printing, and was talking about the Zionist occupied governments. Xander said, well, as I stated earlier, his actions, whether hypocrite or gatekeeping or not, is irrelevant to the big picture. It's his words and how much he's exposed that has my eternal respect. People that take on the highest of the elite and get attacked full force for it must be at least given some respect for speaking up when it's very easy to shut up. Well said, sir. Well said. I gotta agree with that. I mean, I don't necessarily take Alex Jones' word at face value, but the willingness to put himself out there like that is you gotta have respect for it. Shout out to Suzanne Mack. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. Said same in 1776, Bill Bradley. Britain was broke from the Napoleonic Wars. That's why they tried to claim back more tax from their American colonies. And how did that work out? Welcome to the party, Suzanne.
You don't get anything. And so it's the decision to not industrialize those countries. And that's how they control third world countries. And then they sit back and say, well, that's why you're in squalor, because you're not as good as us. We're going to, take care of you. But now that same inherent elitism beyond racism is now being used against the West. And they're now impoverishing the West as
beyond racism, the elitism. Beyond racism, the elitism. That's always what it's been about.
The political tool of control.
Yeah. So this is the modern old world European ugly monster rearing its head again.
Yes.
Which is fascinating, right? Because we fought a revolution. We thought that in 1776, we said on this side of 1776, on this side of the Atlantic, we do things differently. Where, you know what? We, the people, do sort out our differences in a constitutional republic where every citizen's voice and vote counts equally with free speech and open debate. That's what we thought. And every little while, that ugly monster rears its head again. World War I was in some ways the physical conflict of that old world European monarchical.
Well, that was because the British Empire, who was the villain in that war, not in World War II, Hitler was the bad guy there after the Versailles Treaty. They literally said the German problem, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, because it was dominant in industry, science. It was taken over not with the military, but with all of its inventions. So it was kind of the new America, but it was run by another royal family. So they had to kill the Archduke Franz Ferdinand and start World War I. So you're dead on.
And so this battle plays itself out every century or so in different ways. And I think right now we live in another one of these 1776 moments.
Fourth turn.
Yeah, he took the words right out of my mouth. The fourth turning. Strong men bring good times. Good times bring weak men. Weak men bring bad times. And bad times bring good men or strong men. You know what I mean? But that's exactly it. Where was I here? Zippy said to Bill, and not trading with bad nations or those that trade with bad nations. And Bill says, what is a bad nation? I'm a non-interventionist. I don't think we should try to force Western culture on the world either by force or economic coercion. And I definitely agree with that. This goes on to say, cultural chauvinism is how every religious war starts. What Western culture is proving is that cultural chauvinism exists independent of religion. Exactly. That's why we need to get rid of the dogmatic thinking in the first place, and not just the religion itself. Because, like Vivek likes to say all the time, if you take away religion, there's going to be a God-sized hole in your heart, and something is going to fill it. And it is our responsibility as moral Americans. It is our responsibility to create that infrastructure that is going to replace the religion that so many people are falling away from. If you're and it doesn't need to step on religion. If you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you're a Hindu, if you're any of these things, that's okay. That's great. That's amazing. But there's too many Americans who are just secular people. And the number is growing. So if we, the people who have values, the people who care about the future of our society, care about what values other people hold so that we can have a flourishing society. If we care about that, then it's our responsibility. It's our responsibility to make sure that the American identity is something that is tangible, at least something that you can understand. That, hey, we believe in family, we believe in community, we believe in gratitude, we believe in things being based on merit, we believe in capitalism. Why? That's all we need. We need to make sure that there is a moral hierarchy that exists separate from religion, that doesn't conflict with religion, so that Americans, regardless of how you came to these conclusions of we should live by these values, regardless, whether it's because God told you, or whether it's because a science book told you, or because, the seven-headed Ganesh from whatever your religion told you, if we all agree that family, community, gratitude, merit, capitalism, if we all agree that these things matter, then we need to stop fighting about why we think that those things matter and start pushing the idea that, hey, these things matter. These things matter. That is what is missing. Yes, it could be, you can get there with God, but not everybody is going to be religious. And you can try to plug your ears and dig your head in the sand and no, we just go back to God. You need God. You need God. You need God. You're not God. And for some people that may work. But if you think that is a winning proposition to say God or the end of democracy, there's too many people who are already without God, who are ready for the end of democracy as they think of it. It's just that simple.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I'm familiar with the.
It's dead on. And let's use the analogy of America, the United States, and India. I call it, I'm saying this for 20 plus years, that's why they do want me off air. You ask, what do I stand for? Americana, freedom, soft power, people aspiring to be like America, making us the best.
American exceptionalism.
Mm-hmm. Take India. Controlled by the British, kick them out, now wildly successful.
Hey, I'm down to do watch parties for whatever. Just let me know if you are if you are in the Discord server, whether you're a member or not. I'm down to do whatever, but you do have to be a member to be part of the after party, which includes the watch party. So, just let me know. I'm down to watch whatever.
Because you guys actually got control of your government, had your own resources. Same thing. I would call that 1776 worldwide. And that's not America controlling things. It's the idea of freedom, idea of the people, the idea of loving your nation, empowering the individual, and a meritocracy where because I looked at who used to be
meritocracy. What a word.
A word that I just fucking said, right? And as Golden is saying, what filled mine, meaning the hole in his heart, is the confidence in knowing I know the truth. The truth, reality, understanding that, hey, if I want to make friends, then I need to act in a certain way. If I want to make enemies, I'm going to act in this way. If I want society to go in this direction, then I know how to act to make that, to at least do my part to move society in that direction. But if you don't have any core of truth and reality, then anything goes. Anything goes. And that's what we're seeing with so many people. And that's why this idea of, oh, you need God. I agree with the sentiment. But I mean, ask anybody here. Ask anybody here, especially the Christians. I've been begging for anybody to put me back in a life where I can believe that there's a God watching over all of this and there's a plan to all of this. I don't have that. I was born into the Catholic Church. I was confirmed in the Methodist Church. I am not some person who is looking to bash religion. I just don't think it is true. And a lot more people are coming to that same conclusion. And so either they fall into hedonistic leftism, or we provide something based on the truth to replace religion. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So let's see what they're saying about meritocracy. Exactly what I was just saying is such an important American value.
And a meritocracy where because I mean, I looked at who used
meritocracy. What a word. Well, it's a bad word these days.
It is. Well, I mean, I go back and I look at World War II. And almost all of our generals got there through meritocracy and grew up on little farms or in poor areas of cities. And there were there was almost nobody whose dad or granddad was an admiral who was there. In fact, it was almost discrimination against the aristocracy was what America was doing, because George Washington was being discriminated against by the aristocracy, even though he was really part of it. He was mad. That was one of the big reasons that even the, quote, elites of America fought the British elites, because they were tired of saying, well, I'm actually your cousin, but I'm not a lord, so I can't ship products out of the colonies. And so if the rich guys want freedom and they finally set up for themselves, that will have to trickle down. And that's why they can point at America's beginning and say we weren't perfect. But it was the idea of the process. Yeah. And as more people get into that, that's the victory. So
Suzanne says that was the basis of the Constitution. God was a universal truth, not religion. Faith in God broke the communism of the Soviet Union. Interesting. Can you flesh this out a little bit more? I'm pretty sure I understand what you're meaning, but flesh this out a little more. This is cool. Yeah. Flesh that out a little more, and we'll come back to it. Very cool.
Now you look at who is the leaders of the military. They'll have some token people. Oh, look, a black guy, a white lady or whatever. But if you actually look, it's a bunch of blue bloods whose grandfathers were in control at the end of World War II when America absorbed the British Empire and became this new globalist system. So America is like the engine and the brain, along with the British intelligence, of this very evil thing. I love America. I mean, I've got Jones. I mean, I've got a Welsh last name. I'm not an Anglophile, but I'm not an Anglophobe. But the system of the British Empire and the ghost of it through BlackRock and its Royal Institute of International Affairs and the CFR and these corporate management boards are devolving the governments while they expand them and transferring the power to themselves. That's the New World Order. That's global.
It's actually the Old World Order.
It is. You're right.
It's really just
the fourth turning. The old World Order and the New World Order. It's a circle. It's a circle. M169 said, I was raised hardcore evangelical. I walked away from that. A book restored my faith. It's called The Shack. The concepts in it just made sense to me. Well, concepts in the Bible made sense to me until I actually looked into them. Bill Bradley says Australia is still largely representative, but they did put up a recent vote on altering their constitution in a way the elite backed, and the people didn't. And the people won because they got their vote. There you go. There you go. So it's not impossible that we're not too far gone, whether it's Australia or anywhere else. It's not that we can't kind of rein things in. Remember, the wheels of government are supposed to move slowly. We're not supposed to have these giant swings in legislation and stuff like that. The idea was for things to move slowly because we want to make sure that we're moving in the direction that we actually want to move. And even though we've had this detour and we have moved very quickly in the wrong direction, overall, we've moved, but it's not something that we've crossed the Rubicon where we can't bring it back. So I have faith. I have faith that there are enough people who care about this country. What I don't have faith, I have that faith for the reasoning that I've seen those people. I see you guys out there We are out there. And so I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I certainly have reason to believe that we can bring this back from the brink.
The old world order in new world clothing.
That's exactly it.
And that's what
let's hear that one again. We still don't have a stream sponsor, guys. Anybody wants to be a stream sponsor?
Power themselves.
99 cents
That's
will
the
do
new
it.
world order. That's
but
global.
it's actually the old world order.
It is. You're right.
It's really just the old world order in new world clothing.
That's exactly it.
And that's what we got to understand. And so the optimistic side of me says that what a special time it would have been to be alive in the spring of 1776. I mean, it was a special time to be alive. You got Thomas Jefferson, the age of 33. People say I'm old.
Imagine how much just like effect on the world you could have. Think about it. Legitimately think about it. Being the spring of 1776. Imagine what you could do to all of our lives today. Well, guess what? We are yet again in a position to do just that. And it's a lot easier because we got the internet and shit. So all you have to do is a little bit more than nothing. That's it. And you can have the same type of effect that these great, great men that hundreds of years later, we couldn't forget their names if we tried. You can be that person. You just have to do a little bit more than nothing. Is that too much? Is that too much to ask? He says we cannot change the system because once the new depression hits, no one will do anything but survival. I mean, it's possible. I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced. There's too many people who I think are like us and who think like us, and that maybe don't speak up as much as we need to. But y'all are out there. I'm doing my thing over here. Y'all are doing your thing over there. As long as we keep this going, we have something. We have something. What do you think the founding fathers, this whole meeting of the Constitution, how do you think this all happened? They just did it. They were like, yo, we got to do something. And then they did something. It's not complicated. Just do something. You you change the world with what you pay attention to, where you spend your time and effort, where you spend your money. These things change the world, and you have way more control over these things than you ever did before. The decentralization of all this stuff has given you more power than ever before, and yet people are just happy to sit around and do nothing. I mean, if that's what people do, then Zippy's going to be right. But you guys are all here, so I'm keeping my hopes up. Goldner said, if it's the old in new clothes, does that mean he just wants to usher in the new? I don't know. But the point, the point of that is that it's not something novel. It's not something that we can't understand. It's something that we can address. It's something that we can be a part of. We can engage with and make sure that it leads to a better society. Hey, shout out to Guam Tech. Said coffee on me. No soy, please. That's fair enough. To my White Watcher, just say we vote with our dollars in this house. There you go. Thank you so much. Morty, come on up here, buddy. That's right. Every single super chat, donation, Cash App, whatever else comes with a treat for my co-host Morty. Eat it up. Oh, let me get the mic out of the way. There we go. Yummy. Thank you. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so much, brother. I really, really do appreciate that. And of course, whenever you guys donate, I love to jump right back into the video. Thank you very much, sir. All right. Spring 1976.
Here's a special time to be alive. You got Thomas Jefferson, the age of 33. People say I'm old. I'm young. Well, I'm old compared to Thomas Jefferson. He was 33 when he wrote the Declaration of Independence.
Genius.
You have people who were the pioneers, the explorers, the unafraid, that said, you know what? We are going to not just be victimized by this. We're going to chart a new way forward.
Well, 33
That's
was
the
old.
moment we live in.
I totally agree. 33 was old back then. because a lot of people died young. You either you'll die young or live a really long time, but the average was we didn't live as long.
Shout out to Man of Thesis telling us to look up Leviticus 20:10. We are scared to speak in the church and society starts crippling. Why are you scared to speak in the church? I don't really know what that means. But welcome to the party.
You're absolutely right. People were married by 16. People were explorers by 16. And Thomas Jefferson lived a long time, but by 33, he was leading a revolution against an empire that had never been
an inventor,
defeated.
and he was inventing things. He was an engineer. He invented the swivel chair, invented a bunch of other things too, while he's writing the Declaration of Independence. That spirit, in some ways, would history have produced the Thomas Jeffersons and the Alexander Hamiltons of the world if it weren't for the fact that they had this oppressive regime to stand up against? I think probably not.
No, I totally agree. You're talking about the
so this is an opportunity, the moment we live in. Because I am sick and tired, even myself, of you may have, I don't know if you've read some of the books I've written or anything like this, of pointing out the problem. I've done plenty of that. But this is our opportunity now. We're not just going to throw up our hands and complain about it.
Oh, my wife.
Exactly. We've identified the problems. We've taken the time to figure out, okay, what's going on here? What's wrong and what do we need to fix? We've spent plenty of time complaining. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Guamtech is exactly right. Vote with your dollars. It's the only way. It's the only, your attention and your money. It's the only power you have. Yeah, there's a presidential election every 4 years. Yeah, you can vote locally. And you absolutely should do those things. Those are hugely important. But you're not going to get as much done looking to the government to solve the government. It's just not going to happen. Hey, shout out to Xander Crew. Yeah, come on up here again. Thank you, sir. We got another peanut for the puppy. And that makes you the new co-sponsor of the stream. You want to stay up here? Yeah, stay up here and chill, bro. What does Xander Cruz say? He said, thanks for the awesome show. Love the analysis and the depth. Thank you, sir. My pleasure. Absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you.
It's our moment to revive.
I agree. My wife's a huge fan.
Thank you. Tell her thank you. What's her name?
Erica,
tell her thank you.
She almost got up this morning, but we don't have anybody to take care of my daughter. She's got to get her to school. But
how old's your daughter?
6.5.
Oh, it's good age. You have one or...
I've got 4 children. 3 of
Thank
my
you
first
again,
wife,
guys.
Oh, good
She's
for you.
6.5. But and I don't mean to interrupt. You're so dead on. I see you talk about this is our 1776 moment.
I really mean that.
This is an opportunity. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being the leftist mind of we're being attacked, we're being oppressed, let's give up and complain. Let's innovate. Let's out communicate. Let's use this pressure like lifting weights or jogging or climbing a mountain to get stronger. That which doesn't kill me only makes me stronger, to quote Nietzsche.
Yes.
And it's totally true. And this is 1776 part 2 for the whole world.
Hell yeah. Part 2 for the whole world. Shout out to Insight of Ages. And I thought it was great. Welcome to the party. I don't know what is great, but I am glad you are here. Welcome.
And it's very exciting.
And I think we got to go through stages of this. And you've been doing this in my own corner of the world. I've been doing this to point out the problem and see it with clear eyes. You can't win a war unless you know that you're in one. That's the first step. Okay.
You can't win a war unless you know that you're in one. True. This innovation. Yeah. So Inside of Ages, did you vote in the poll that it's a good interview? But what do you think other people are going to think of this? Look at this. Sorry. But what do you think other people are going to think when it comes to Vivek? Is this going to help Vivek or not? What do you think? Someone said, we are the majority. It's a huge problem that government today is siding with the minority. Trump being removed from the ballot is taking away the majority's choice. I'm afraid this will be the last straw. Yeah, I mean they're going hard. They're going hard. This is the Hail Mary. This is the final final countdown. Because if Trump gets back in office, then there is too much power on this on the side that's not the establishment. It's just proof that it wasn't a fluke. That everybody they weren't taking they weren't taking him seriously and this and that and whatever. And the fact of the matter is, if he gets in again, then it can't be just a fluke. It is This is what the people want. And it shows that we don't want this establishment bullshit. Even if we have to go through, a transitional period of this, that, whatever, that if Trump, he's saying Trump already won. I'm with it. Let's go. Yeah, you guys like that one, right? But I mean, yeah, guys, it's we are in the next 1776. That's it.
Rise. You can't win a war unless you know that you're in one. That's the first step. Okay.
Boom.
And you got a bunch of people on that Republican Party stage that have no clue. I mean, these are clueless.
They don't even know what exactly. They're just, I'm a politician.
They have no clue.
I want to be rich and powerful.
Here are my super PAC provided talking points. Literally,
they're like going to a whorehouse and the whores are lined up showing you what they got and telling you they're special. I mean, they're literally in front of the corporation saying, "I'm good at this. I'm good at that. I will."
Mother's milk for them. Money is the mother's milk of politics. So put them to one side. But my view is, you can't win a war unless you know you're in one. And part of my job has been laying out the weaponization of financial markets, the weaponization of our capital, the weaponization of basically every sphere of our lives. This fringe minority view has taken over institutions from K through 12 education to our universities, to Wall Street, to Silicon Valley, to our U.S. military. Now, I think it's worth pausing. I was going to get to the positive part. Before I do that, I think it's worth answering the question of why this other side has managed to take over every institution. And I have an unconventional theory of this one, Alex.
So before he goes into that, I want to address this one. Goldholder is saying social ridicule. People are self-censoring on almost every level right now on all sides. Do you have any idea, number one, how much easier it is for me to do the show and also clip up the show when I'm here with another person, as opposed to just reacting to a video? But it is impossible. It is impossible to get more than, we have, obviously people like Dr. Evil Genius and Darshan who've been up here, they have their own channels. So they're, as awesome as it is that they, share their thoughts, you can get their thoughts on their own channels. And so trying to get people to discuss these things, it's impossible. Just be like, oh, well, I don't want my face out there. I don't want my name out there. I don't want to. All right. Well, then we're just going to continue to descend into madness. Now, I get it. If you have a job and somebody can see it, first of all, ain't nobody watching this shit. There's 15 of us here. So the chances of your boss stumbling upon my YouTube channel when I have less than 3,000 subscribers, I don't know about that. But the notion that, oh, I'm safer by not addressing these problems and digging my head in the sand. I'm safer by letting what is clearly, we all agree, is an issue. I'm safer letting that continue. No, you're not. You're not at all. Yeah. Hey, well, hit me up in the Discord and we will make it happen. We will make it happen. I'm always looking for new people to talk to and to hear from. Inside also says Vivek is going hard, doing all the things he's not supposed to do, and I love it. Except if they take Trump off the ballot, we just need to vote for him by writing him in. Yes, but that splits, like, how many people are actually going to do that? How many people are actually going to do that? Because if this is the case and we have a Vivek and then there's Biden on the other side, do you really want to split that vote? I don't know. That's, yeah, exactly. I wish, but Insight said America is for sale. That is the issue. We can't be beat militarily, but we can just be purchased. It is happening. Yep. And they're exactly what they're talking about. Soul Soul said, as we said before, this fringe minority is the squeakiest wheel. It's time for us to get loud. Let's go get loud. I'll drink to that. Well said. Shout out to the fire. Welcome. I said, I'm brain dead, literally supporting the G side of when did I ever say that? I think you're on the wrong channel, homie. Don't upload videos on shit you have no knowledge on. Yeah, how dare I have a stream where I bring on other people and ask them questions.
How dare you?
Terrible, terrible. Shout out to You Win TV. We'll definitely have to look into that. But welcome to the party. So, all right, let's see where we were here.
I think it's worth answering the question of why this other side has managed to take over every institution. And I have an unconventional theory of this one, Alex. I think that it's worth seeing. You know, you and I may be, you know, we're conservative. People may classify us as being in the right, but take those labels off.
I'm
for
a populist.
I mean, just take. I hate labels. They're not useful.
I agree.
They're reductionist. So let's just look at the substance of this. People who would have identified as being on the old left, right? Occupy Wall Street, challenging the bailouts.
Based, insight of the ages. I am okay getting fired for what I say and do. I won't live a lie. There's just too many people who are like, yeah, I'll live the lie. It's just that simple. Just be honest, be authentic, and you don't have to worry about this shit. But everybody is looking to dance around and have the right opinion and be right instead of understanding that, you know, it's you get shit like this. Like, you have no idea who the fuck I am, what the fuck I know, what the fuck anybody else knows, but you are right because reasons.
The old left version of break up big tech, the old left that was critical of colleges charging way too much money for providing far less in return. The people who
Hey, that's right. Shout out to Zippy. We got a projection drink. Actually, wait. Full view. All right. Dilly.
criticized schools in the inner cities, failing to serve black kids in the inner city or whatever. Even our military, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, a lot of that criticism used to come from what was perceived to be the old left. What happened was each of those institutions, what they did was, if you're Wall Street, you don't want to occupy Wall Street, but I'll do the new woke stuff. Diversity, inclusion, climate change. Great.
Fucking brain dead losers on YouTube saying things that have no bearing on what is actually being said.
If you're Silicon Valley, I don't like the left-wing breakup big tech. I'll censor hate speech and misinformation as you define it, but I don't do it for free as long as I get to get you off my back. The U.S. military, if you're Mark Milley, you don't want to talk about accountability for Iraq and Afghanistan. Forget about that. I'll talk about white rage and systemic racism.
Exactly. Xander saying, Vivek having a convo with Alex Jones make me respect him even more. Not only is Vivek incredibly smart, he understands the social dynamics of the divide in America. This is what we need, not some geriatric career politician who's just next in line and looking to keep the status quo. Then it goes on to say he's actively giving a middle finger to the elite that tried to take Alex down by speaking like this with him. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's drink to that. Let's drink to that. Bill, I'm pretty sure he's gone. If they're not typing, they're probably gone. Nobody's sitting around to like, oh no, I can't troll here. Oh my God.
So part of this is a deeper arranged marriage. It's more like, I mean, use the whorehouse analogy. It's more like mutual prostitution.
Well, that's right. The
Between
power
two strange bedfellows.
That's right. The power structure has failed. They're not the aristocrats that are doing it for their own good. They know they're a fraud. The system's coming apart. And
they know it's a fraud, but it's an arranged marriage that allows them to keep their power intact.
That's it.
So anyway,
Yep.
you've talked about similar themes.
Happened, though?
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's a meme. It's totally true. History shows it. Bad times make hard men make good times make weak men make bad times.
Yeah.
It's a cycle. So a lot of it is our fault. We can't just blame the globalists and the aristocracy. Their rot.
Thank you.
Their rot is our rot.
Shout out to Suzanne shouting out Bill Bradley for taking down the trolls. I mean, not like I needed help, but y'all got my back.
And so
that's what I'm talking about.
There's so much entertainment, so much food.
We got to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, why is it that we bend the knee? Because yes, when the Israelites escape from the Pharaoh, they're lost in the desert, yet to find the promised land. What did they say? We want to go back and be ruled by the Pharaoh.
That's right.
And so we can complain about the Pharaoh all we want, and it exists. the global ESG movement, modern stakeholder.
But we have to build our own system. That's actually
what is it that makes us want to bend the knee?
We have to build our own system. We have to build our own system. It's almost like everything that I've been saying is being echoed by everybody that we listen to and respect. Crazy. I'm sure the Fire ran off to their bedroom to have a wank about how brave they were.
Loser.
I mean, smart, intelligent people don't just go to random YouTube streams and try to be like, meh. Like, that's just not what people who are looking for a conversation do. I'm very familiar with people who don't have a damn thing to say, but definitely want to be heard. And it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Damn, Skippy, we do. He's like, I'm not the one tonight. Let's go. So I'm talking to the man. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Couldn't help it when he said that. Where's that from? I'm not familiar with that. Nick said, someone forgot people on this side of the conversation can actually give a reason that makes sense for what they think. Exactly. It's out of ages. So the root cause of it is a monopolistic fiat currency. That is the head of the snake. Not financial advice, but buy Bitcoin. Okay, the cause root of our. Where is it? Come on. Our. Okay, so the root cause of our monopolistic fiat currency. That is the head of the snake. Again, buy Bitcoin. Michael Jackson. What the fuck? Oh. Got it. Yeah, I probably would. I would definitely. I think I can hear it. I think I can hear it in my head. I'm not gonna sing it because I don't know it that close, but you know. Okay, yeah, that's definitely a good one. Too. Insight saying, don't just buy Bitcoin, use it. Again, not financial advice. I'm more of a hodler, but the more we can use it, the more reason there is for other people to use it. Xander said Vivek is signaling a powerful message to the elite that he isn't afraid of what they can do to silence him. By aligning in any way with Alex Jones, the man they hate almost more than Trump, he is brave. Completely agree.
It's actually what this book, The Great Awakening, comes out next week. It's available at InfoWars right now, pre-order. This is a really important book, Defeating the Globalist and Launching the Next Great Renaissance. I wasn't even going to bring the book up till you brought this up. This book is not just about how they're bad. That's half the book. The rest is solutions. So I'm really.
The rest is solutions. Something that we have been gravely desiring. We've needed a solution. And he says that he has it. Bill Bradley says money lenders have outsized power. Yep. And BlackRock is investing in Bitcoin, unfortunately. We're not going to beat them, but at least we can hedge our bets. Certainly holding a decent amount of Bitcoin. Again, not financial advice. Holding a decent amount of Bitcoin is definitely going to be better than whatever happens than just having all of your money in cash sitting in a savings account where you're getting 3% a year and it's losing 9% in inflation. So in the Soul said, no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. Shout out to MJ, both the black one and the white one.
Impressed with your work and research. I hope.
Hey, he's still here. Shout out to the Fire. Oh, Fire, bro. You're so cool, bro. I wish I could be like a Fire. Yo, you want to come on, Fire? Fire, you're Fire, bro. Fire.
And take a copy?
Please, sir.
That's for me. All right.
Take a couple for your crew as well. So
absolutely, I'm gonna.
Okay, so what do you go for?
But I mean, you're totally nailing it, and I watch and listen to you. That's how I was able to steal your thunder and say you're absolutely. In fact, you influenced this book. In me hearing you, we've got to talk more about solutions. And I was already on that kick, but you're right. I was like, I got to write a book about solutions and the system we can build that's alternate.
This is the moment now. Now is our moment to do it.
Now is the moment. The solutions are there, and I guarantee you read that book or anybody else who has a claim to an answer to this wokeness bullshit, I guarantee you their message is going to boil down in some respect to the two things that I always talk about. Semantic obfuscation, taking the words and jumbling the meaning so that you can use them in conversation and argument and debate and switch them back and forth. You got the that leads to linguistic creep, where now the next generation of people don't even know the difference between, well, wait, a Nazi, I just thought a Nazi was somebody who disagreed with me. Wait, there's such a thing as that happens. And then, of course, we have dogmatic thinking. The idea that you believe in this thing without sufficient reason and are not willing to question it. Those are the things that are taking this country down. It will always boil down to that. Insight of the Ages said our politicians don't represent us, and money does not represent our labor. Yep. So he said, Bitcoin went from nearly 70K to less than 6K in about a month's time. That's the cycles, baby. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Don't you worry. Give it a couple years. Bill said, I bought some palladium. I know most prefer gold. Yeah, I mean, anything, we're talking anything besides fiat currency is going to do much better than cash. Just get rid of your cash. Your cash, they're printing more of them constantly. If I have one phone, then it's got a certain amount of value. If I just print another one, then either phone becomes less valuable. And then as I continue to print more phones, each one continues to get less and less valuable. That is what they are doing with your dollars. By simply having them and holding on to them while they are printing, you are losing money. You are losing money.
Pull this up. We got to have
an alternative vision
yes.
of our own, right? So I think that for me, and it doesn't mean we can have competing visions. This is the conversation we need to have. If the left is feeding us race, gender, sexuality, climate, how about reviving the individual?
Yes.
Based.
How about the family?
Yes.
Nation.
Yes.
That not some nebulous global citizen fighting climate change. I'm a citizen of this nation.
Oh, so you mean exactly the thing that I proposed before in this conversation and every single stream that I do. Maybe I'm onto something.
The United States of America, and I'm proud of it. I'm not going to apologize for it. And by the way, God, I think, plays a big role in this too. I think the revival of faith is something that
I totally agree with
us
this. That's what the book's about. And again, I'm not against gay people, rainbow flag stuff, but it's the new flag. They're even talking about getting rid of the American flag. Yep. They're now trying to take George Washington's statue down in New York. They're now doing all of this, and this is all unfolding, and we're having our symbols that recognize who we are and what we stand for away from us and giving us a new one that is a government corporate directed sex cult. I don't care if it was a heterosexual cult showing me their flag and taking down our flag and telling my kids about it.
Yeah, I would not want that either. Xander says the solution is to take money out of politics and make it a system that attracts those citizens who want the best for their people, not just themselves. Exactly. Biggest problem as a species is selfishness, and we can't get around that. We can't get around that. That's how we evolved to survive, and that it's not going to just stop because you should be nice. That's not the way things work. Insights say we start our own Fed. Let's do it. Let's do it. You down to be who should we put in charge? We're starting our own Fed. Who are we putting in charge? Let me know what you guys think. Who should be the says at least audit? But if we're gonna start our own Fed, who would be the leader?
I mean, if it was some new flag about NASCAR, I'm not against NASCAR, but it was NASCAR stuff everywhere, and them telling.
This is brilliant. I know where he's going. This is brilliant. It has nothing to do with the rainbow. It has nothing to do with the gay. It has nothing to do with transphobia. It has to do with patriotism. Let's run this back a little bit.
Showing me their flag and taking down our flag and telling my kids about it. I mean, if it was some new flag about NASCAR, I'm not against NASCAR, but it was NASCAR stuff everywhere, and them telling my kids pledge allegiance to NASCAR, I'd say this is a NASCAR cult. Get it out of here. And what it is,
cult is interesting. It's an interesting use of the word. So a cult,
and I think it's an appropriate use of the word,
is a religion that has not withstood the test of time.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
So it's short term. And so there's an old saying, actually, I think it came from Blaise Pascal. He was a scientist of all things, but He said, if there's a hole the size of God in your heart and God
something else is going to fill it.
Something else will instead.
Exactly.
The substitution theory. This is a staple. This is a staple of what Vivek talks about. This is a staple of what I talk about.
And my civic version of
They've
that,
kicked God out, and now
some other poison fills the void.
demon is filling it.
And
Right. So if we know that there is no returning to God for those people, either we say, well, they're too far gone. Nothing we can do. They're just going to continue building up and having their own propaganda and voting against our interests. Or we can provide that alternative to Abrahamic religion. We can provide that structure, as I talked about before. Family, community, gratitude, merit, capitalism, all of these things. It's not complicated. It's just not going to be easy. But nobody who told you that it was going to be easy? Because I find this encouraging, because if Vivek had been groomed for this, he wouldn't be talking to Alex. The only concern I have is Vivek seems too good to be true. Like he could be a Republican Obama. That's the sentiment that keeps coming up. Like, yo, what is it? When is the other shoe going to drop? What did this guy do? What skeletons does he have in his closet? There's got to be something, right? There's got to be something. What is it? If you don't vote for Vivek, if you don't vote for Vivek, then you ain't Indian. Good one. All right. Yeah. So let's. Some other poison fills the void. Demon is filling it. Yes. So let's not let that happen.
Civic version of
They've
that,
kicked God out, and now
some other poison fills the void.
demon is filling it.
And so my version of that, in a civic sense, is if we don't pledge allegiance to the American flag or to a true flag of our nation, we're going to pledge allegiance to a different flag instead. I've said that as a matter of analogy, but now literally there are different flags. I mean, the transgender
and there's
flag,
more and more and more. We're being divided and conquered.
That's right.
Where everybody, and they call it the broken coalition strategy. This came out in the Clinton documents in their library in Little Rock. And as they're about to win the presidency, they're having meetings. The papers are public now. We've got to create the broken coalition strategy nationwide where no group can be powerful and organized. So the parliamentary system's weak because look at Justin Trudeau. He only gets 30% of the vote, but he has coalitions with the broken coalition strategy to then have the tyranny of different minorities getting together against the majority.
Okay, now you're getting into, we're going to have to take a pause there because I'm not sure where that's going. We're going to have to back that up and listen to that in a little bit. It's real quick insight of the ages. So this is how the myth of the Antichrist keeps humanity down. We're conditioned to destroy our best hope every time they poke their head up to try, and it works. I'm not sure I fully understand, but definitely the conditioning part, I completely agree with. You definitely. Where are we? Oh, just this guy. Suzanne said, Vivek is Hindu. The Constitution requires that holding God in one's heart to govern the country. Religious freedom, not allegiance to dogma.
Bingo.
Exactly. We don't need to be a theocracy. We also don't need to throw away the religious foundation of this country. We can do both. Base our legislation in reality, get rid of dogmatic thinking, and still operate as the Constitution intended. What have I missed? So the Soul says, sounds about right. Bill schooled you, the fire. Then, when you have nothing to say, you move the goalpost and more ad hominems. Poor performance.
Loser.
Glad I'm not paying attention to that.
Oh, it's such an interesting.
Okay, yeah. Because now he's talking about groups of minorities taking over. I don't know. I don't like how that sounds.
The parliamentary system's weak because look at Justin Trudeau. He only gets 30% of the vote, but he has coalitions with the broken coalition strategy to then have the tyranny.
Nick or any other mod, if he specifically, if he insults somebody directly, then you can time him out, but just let him do it his thing. If this is the greatest night of the Fire's life, to be just ranting in a YouTube video where there's not even 20 people here, Let him have it. Let him have it. That's sad.
Of different minorities getting together against.
Hey, shout out to M10. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. So the only way for the U.S. to save itself is to base its foundation on Abrahamic values, i.e. Judeo-Christian Islamic values. But that won't happen since U.S. is Satan's capital. Well, I basically completely agree with you. As an atheist, I completely agree with you. The values are what are important. You don't need to have the beliefs in order to have the values. And some people are not going to have the beliefs either way. And so I think that we can push back against this, Satan's capital thing. I get what you're saying. But we don't need to switch one religion for another, or say it has to be. You have to believe in the religion, not just accept the values. That's really where I come from. It's the values, exactly as you said. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, M10. Oh, CT said, Vivek is doing a good job of keeping Alex on track. Yeah, he's no Joe Rogan. He's no Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like, wait, you got to stop it. But hey, once you get 10,000 hours in that podcasting chair, then you got some powers that are a little bit different. But yeah, Vivek is doing he's doing the damn thing. All right, but yeah, I want to make sure we're getting the full context on this, because it's starting to sound like it's going in a weird area, and I just want to make sure we're on top of it.
He only gets 30% of the vote, but he has coalitions with the broken coalition strategy to then have the tyranny of different minorities getting together against the majority.
It's such an interesting invocation of that, because that describes our current moment right now in this country. We have, in the name of protecting against a tyranny of the majority, we have created a new tyranny
of the minority.
Exactly.
I pretty sure I completely agree. To prevent the
in the name of protecting against a tyranny of the majority.
Okay, so in the name of protecting against a tyranny of the majority, so that being white people, men, whatever you want to put there. In the interest of protecting the white man from taking over,
we have created a new tyranny of the minority.
Exactly.
So now the minority has a tyrannical effect because of the cultural norms that we've allowed to shift. Very interesting.
And that minority has captured every institution.
And that's what you told transgender. See, I'm quoting you back. You've taught me a lot.
You remember that.
And I got to tell you, Viv, of course I do. I watch you every day. You and Tucker Carlson are two of my favorite people. And I tell my listeners who are real owly and don't trust the system, they're like, well, how do we know this guy's good?
Whoa. Oh, sorry. Can't turn that button off. Thank you, Susan, for giving me the opportunity to do this. I love to be able to clear this up whenever I get an opportunity. So absolutely, I am an atheist. An atheist is just somebody who, when you ask them the question, do you have an affirmative belief in a god or gods, simply says no. It doesn't mean that you hate God. It doesn't mean that you reject religion. It doesn't mean that you think that God doesn't exist. That is not what the word means. Theist means person who believes in a god or gods. A is a prefix that means without. So in the same way that I could say, that I could tell you, my dog is sitting in his bed right here, right next to me. He's sitting right here. You could say, I believe you. He probably is sitting right there. Why would he lie about that? You could say, he's probably not sitting there. He's probably specifically pointing to a place where a dog's not sitting to make a point. Or you could say, I don't know. He's not in frame. I don't know you well enough to understand why you would say he was this or that and that. And so the same thing happens with God. And so it has nothing. Yes, a lot of atheists are angry. A lot of atheists do hate God. But a lot of atheists also have long hair. A lot of atheists are short people. A lot of atheists are YouTubers. But those are just the same thing as saying a lot of conservatives have long hair. A lot of conservatives are short people. They may overlap, but it's not a definition. Definitionally. So all that it needs to be an atheist is to not have an affirmative belief in a god or gods. And that is very, very, very important to me, because as someone who does not want to completely reject these religious values, as somebody who appreciates the Abrahamic values, as somebody who wants to continue pushing those values just away from the belief that I don't hold, it's very important for everybody to understand that there are very, 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 very many people like myself who are atheists, who are not this. And I don't blame anybody for thinking this. I completely understand where the where the stereotype comes from, but this is factually incorrect, and it is just a matter of what do you believe? Do you believe that a God exists? If you say I don't know or no, then you are an atheist. That's the end and the start of it. What you believe and how you feel and what you do beyond that is not part of atheism. So thank you for this comment, because I love to go up on atheism whenever I can. M. Ted said, thanks for your response. I just randomly came across you and don't know anything about you other than what I've just heard from you in the last 5 minutes. You seem pretty chill. Well, thank you. And thank you for coming through and checking it out. I think I'm pretty chill. I don't know. I think the fire here would disagree, but I think so. And yup, that makes sense. Where are we? Nick says the reason why the Christian founding fathers put a separation of church and state, even they know that religion, even theirs, can be used for bad. Smart men backed up by great women. All right, there we go. There we go. Xander said atheism has a spectrum just like anything else. Okay, I get what you're saying. And for the purposes of Suzanne's comment, I'm not going to dig into it, but I do disagree with what you're saying. But it's a nitpick type thing, so we'll go with it. And atheism is not agnosticism, but agnosticism is also not the in between of I don't know. That's not what Gnostic means. Knowledge. Gnosticism is not the capital G, but just the root of the word. Gnosticism is knowledge. And so again, the same prefix a, it is just without the knowledge. So I am an agnostic atheist. I don't know, but I don't believe. Glomtech says, my Satanists hate God. What? Satanists hate God. Atheists just deny him. The dirty little heathens. Yep.
How dare you?
Sorry. Did we get the Zippy said to Suzanne, do not believe that atheism is hating God or immoral. It's more about objective equality. Well, it's not even about that. It's just about the acceptance of a certain claim. There's a God. Do you accept it? Yes. Then you are not an atheist. Do you not accept it or you're not sure? Then you're an atheist. That's it. That's it. Inside of the Ages says, bigger than everything you are. Oh, I'm not even going to, I don't even bother. Xander said, Indian Jesus is disrespectful to religion, but doesn't believe deeply in what they're selling. Even that's not true. I believe very much in what they're selling, except for the core of you have to believe this. And that's why all of these values are good. It's just why can't we have the values without the beliefs? That's it. And I as well, I am also an anti-theist. I think religion is a bad thing for humans. I'm not looking to take it away from anybody. I'm looking to create a world where it fades away because we don't need it. That's a whole other story. But yeah, Golden's saying I'm anti-theist. Atheists don't hate God. They just reject God, the God character from the storybook. Yeah, exactly. So Susan said, okay, then they may have changed the definitions. It happens a lot. I don't know. And no used to be agnostic. What you describe was called secular. Yeah, so secular. So I don't know when because again, I was born in the Catholic Church and I was confirmed in the Methodist Church. So I only got into this stuff maybe like right around 2010, like 2009, 2010. But at that point, which I don't know about changes or whatever, but secular just means non-religious. So an atheist is going to be a secular individual, but not everybody who is secular is, or not everything that is secular is going to be tied to the denial that God exists. So you could have, you could go to a Marvel movie is a secular movie in the sense that it's not about God, but it's not anything against God. It's not making any claims that God doesn't exist. It's just not about religion. And then, yeah, agnostic is whether you know or not, and theism is or atheism is whether you believe or not. But yeah, very always love to get into it when I can. So thank you for the opportunity. All right, so let's dive back in the last 2 chapters here, see where we were.
Minority.
Exactly.
And that minority has captured every institution.
And that's what you told the transgender. See, I'm quoting you back. You've
Yeah,
taught me a lot.
you remember that.
And I got to tell you,
you.
Viv, of course I do. I watch you every day. You and Tucker Carlson are 2 of my favorite people. And I tell my listeners who are real owly and don't trust the system, they're like, well, how do we know this guy's good? And I'm like, there's no way Vivek's saying all these things. That's like high noon or a holy water to a vampire. He's not one of them. You do not say these things. This irrevocably damages the lie. He is good by the very fruit of the tree, as Christ said.
And my view is people should be skeptical.
I am very confused by what just happened. And the fact that he was speaking more slowly than anything else, I need to run that back just a little bit. Just a little bit.
High noon or a holy water to a vampire. He's not one of them. You do not say these things. This irrevocably damages the lie. He is good by the very fruit of the tree, as Christ said.
And my view is people should be skeptical.
It's fine to be skeptical.
Encourage skepticism, but we gotta do something about.
We gotta move on.
We gotta do something about.
I mean, take RFK Jr. I would say
who was cool, but then he came out for reparations. So come on, man. Come on, man.
I agree with about 90% of him. I agree with about 99% of you. Tucker
His
Carlson.
climate stuff is a little bit off the reservation.
Well, he used to say we're going to arrest people that question this.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to walk that back. He's got to something, but he says it's out of context. And he was talking about corporations that lie, like cigarettes.
But still, I think the climate agenda itself is a hoax.
Oh, of course
climate
change is a constant.
I think any person who leads the United States going forward cannot be somebody who accepts the premises of the climate change agenda as a fixed principle for how
it's a fear mongering for the cult.
It's disqualifying
to make you think
US.
you're bad, to give control of your life over to them. And let me just say something briefly here. I'm not a petroleum geologist, but I have family.
He's a Kennedy. Of course. Oh wait, did I miss it? Oh, there we go. He's a Kennedy. Of course he's a big. He's a Kennedy. What are we talking about? We're just so used to radicals that he seemed chill. Yeah, but he's radical in some ways, but he's also the ideas that we would call radical have become normalized in this bifurcated reality. In their reality, reparations is like a normal thing. Climate science is unquestionable. All that kind of stuff. So you gotta understand the difference between the people who are trying to obfuscate and the people who are getting the wrong idea. That's when Peter Boghossian was on. That was the big thing that I learned, that I need to have a better description for the people who are doing the semantic obfuscation and the people who are using the language that has been obfuscated. Because they're 2 different groups. But yeah, radical indeed. Insight said, RFK supporting reparations was a masterful move. It will ensure that only Dems vote for him. Intentional. Okay, fair enough. Suzanne said, the quote, the rejecting the God character from the storybook. God is so much bigger than that. So that makes me an atheist. Did not see that one coming. All right, we got another one on the team. Now that's my thing is that everybody has their own. If you go to church on Sunday, so first, before you walk into church, think to yourself, what is God? What does God mean to me? Think about that and have a statement or a phrase or something articulated out in your mind. Then you go and you sit down, you turn to the person to your left and you ask them, what is God to you? You will get a different answer than what's in your head. Then you turn to your right and you ask that person, what does God mean to you? And you will get a third answer. So the problem is that I don't really know what people mean when they say God. I don't know what that means. It's so broadly used that I don't understand what it is that anybody is referring to when they say the word. And so it's important to know what we're talking about. But I'm definitely, I'm definitely, again, not looking to take religion away from anyone. I definitely respect. There's a lot of Christians in the chat, a lot of Christians in the community, and I definitely respect it. And like I said, I think it would be great if everybody could leave their religion behind, but I have no desire to take that away from anybody. Context said, I'd still vote for RFK over Biden, though. I said, shit, me too. Me too. Correct. We are not leftists. Correct. We just like to debate. That is how you get smarter. So the Soul said, moral technicalities does not a realistic world make. Moral technicalities. I'm not sure. I mean, I understand what this sentence means. What are you referring to, though? Boom. All right. Where were we?
Control your life over to them. And let me just say something briefly here. I'm not a petroleum geologist, but I have family that is. They told me this 30 years ago. It's not coming from dead whales and dead dinosaurs. They now have the devices and systems, and they keep finding oil deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, 50, 60,000 feet, all the way down to the mantle through the crust. And they're hitting oil and gas deposits that are so big, they don't have pipes that can contain what's coming up. And what it is if you look at Mars, scientists now believe that it once had an atmosphere, but this is a short science lesson, but it once had an atmosphere, but its gravity wasn't big enough to hold the atmosphere and it had water. We know there's water under the surface, there's water under the surface of the moon. That's been confirmed. India confirmed that, what our folks confirmed back in the 60s.
All right, well then go react like that to the person who made the video. Why? What did I do in this situation?
So that's going on. So there's actually giant reserves, and they're saying these gases are bad. The Earth used to have way higher concentrations of methane, carbon dioxide, oxygen, all these things, but it's off gas into space, and it has retreated underground. So if you look at millions of years ago, now what carbon dioxide, 0 point whatever 4, I mean, it's a fraction of a percent. And things used to be healthier. Plants can take 10 times the carbon dioxide. They grow faster, need less water. We need this. So it's really a magic moment. Talk about God existing, that right as the Earth starts to slowly lose its atmosphere, it would probably still be a few million years, we come along and are digging all this up and terraforming, geoengineering, putting it back up. It's good, folks. They want to ban cows because they off-gas methane. So do you. Methane helps hold heat in.
I remember when I first heard that about cowspiracy, and then they actually, AOC actually put into a bill something about cow farts. You want to legislate cow farts?
Come on, man.
We're due for another ice age.
Here's what I want to do. So far we've got a bunch of votes on the of what you guys think of, will this interview be good or bad for Vivek? So right now we have, I'm ending the poll, 67% of you said good, but I'm going to put the exact same poll back up, and I'm just curious if anybody has changed their mind.
12,000 year
Well,
cycle.
you know what's funny, Alex, is you go to you probably know this, but if you go to the Newsweek cover magazine or Time magazine in the 1970s.
Hey, shout out to the fire. This is what we do here. Apologies are all that is needed. All is forgiven, man. We are here to discuss, things that are happening, things that are going on, and everybody is welcome. Everybody is, encouraged to give their thoughts. And sometimes we get heated, not the last stream, but the stream before that, I was pretty much screaming at somebody in the chat, but it all comes from a respect of that. We all want to understand reality. We all want to push this country to a better place. So if you're with that, then it's all good with me. And Bill Bradley said, I enjoyed the interaction. No hard feelings. If this is what you're looking for, hit that subscribe, because this is how we roll.
Freezing.
Global ice age. That's what they were saying. And if you don't abandon our modern way of life for that, in a different direction, we're going to have a global ice age. More people are going to die this year of 8 times as many people actually this year are going to die of cold temperatures rather than warm ones.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, that's because they're sleeping on the street. That doesn't sound very much like a climate change issue as much as it sounds like a homeless issue.
So These are facts you don't hear in the ordinary climate discourse.
And they also lie. They say
they have no problem
hottest
with
time
that.
ever in Death Valley. No, it's 134. It hit 131 this year. They said Texas, hottest ever, longest spell. And then I went back and looked at the books because I remember playing football in 1990. They had to cancel 2-a-days because it was 112 and people were dying all over the city of Dallas where I live. And it was also in Austin. But I looked up the records. They're just lying.
Yeah. So that's I think that's what our pro-American movement needs to learn is we've been lied to 360 degrees so much that it can create the first form of laziness is just believing what you're force-fed.
I want to stop here, guys, because this is awesome. I'm very glad. We've had a number of trolls coming through, and I genuinely thought, hey, we are a strong community of people who have fun. We talk about stuff that matters. And I think that if we just treat people like people, that, people will act like people. And most of the people like Seabass, like Wesley, St. Michael, all these people came in and we tried to treat them like normal people and they were just too far gone. So shout out to the Fire for being, it came in a little hot, but we all do it sometimes. So let's take a drink to the Fire. Welcome to the community, brother. You are, one of us. You are one of us. If you care about stuff like this and you're willing to have these conversations, you're willing to get into it, and you're willing to say, hey, I was wrong before, and allow other people to be wrong and allow them to apologize. Hey, you are in the right place, brother. Glad you joined us. All right, let's see where we at.
The first form of laziness is just believing what you're force-fed. But now our movement
they getting through. I'm just as we're getting more populated, I can't bring everything up, and then I'm not trying to distract from the video when you guys are having your own conversation. So everything's coming up, and if it pops up the second I see, because I have the YouTube chat open, so I'm already you good. I got you.
Understands that you gotta reject whatever you're force-fed. And I don't care if it's even force-fed by mainstream establishment on the left or on the right or whatever. Reject what you're force-fed. Question everything. Is
Exactly. What do I have tattooed right here? I know my arms are tiny, so you can't see it, but it says, believe nothing except that anything is possible. Believe nothing except that anything is possible. That means stay skeptical. Let's see, we had some here. Bill Bradley said, discourse is better when you have multiple outlooks. Echo chambers are boring. Not sure why so many people like them so much, because they're not interested in challenging themselves. They're just interested in hearing what they want to hear. That's what makes us different, is that we actually do like discourse with multiple outlooks. They just don't like that. Fire said, moral technicalities is the only way you evaluate right and wrong, not how people viewed the world 100 years ago. Fair enough. Goldholder said it's so hard to find fair coverage on what's going on with just about anything. That's why we're here. Not everyone here agrees or disagrees. We're just reaching out to learn. Bingo.
One. But then at some point, you're not going to get anywhere just by sitting and questioning. That's the first step. So that's what I was saying. We've seen the problem with clear eyes. We understand the Pharaoh. We understand to be skeptical. Now I get this. I'm not coming from a place of personal frustration, but when I'm coming on the scene aiming to lead this nation forward, people say, well, you came out of nowhere. Didn't you work at start a biotech company? Loser. And at some point I'm going to say, listen, people, once we see the problem with clear eyes, we can't just spin our wheels and throw our hands up. We need competent leaders who share our understanding of the problem.
Plus, the whole power
to actually move this country forward.
The whole power structure came after you. Then they did that whisper campaign that you were really secretly establishment because you're going around networking. I mean, I've met with Bilderberg Group members. I've met with people that are in Davos. Doesn't mean I agree with them, but the whole and you're not endorsing their system.
Hell no.
You're not.
Hell no.
But the system has come after you.
Yes.
You've been the main target the last two debates. That's the endorsement. Just like people go, wait, they're indicting Trump for no reason. That endorses him. You are the next biggest targeted person.
Did you see this Hannity interview last night by chance?
No, I missed it.
Oh, man.
Did you guys see this from yesterday? This is from today, right? So either yesterday or the day before, something with Hannity?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm making the case. I think it's sane that On one hand, absolutely, Israel is our ally.
Hey, shout out to the fire. Everybody put the fire in the chat. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. Uh-oh. Who's this? R.I.P. Rachel Corey. 2003 soldier found clear of any wrongdoing because his bulldozer was engaged in a combat operation. Well, R.I.P. Yeah, I don't really know what that. But shout out to the fire.
What happened to them was wrong. It was barbaric. It was medieval. And of course, they have a right to national self-defense. But I've also said that we should not want to enter a broader regional conflict in the Middle East that doesn't advance U.S. interests because we have to learn from our prior mistakes in this country. And that's arguably not good for Israel, but it's definitely not good for the United States. And so I also pointed to others in the Republican Party, like Nikki Haley, who screech, finish them, talking about Hamas and Iran as though there's no distinction. Finish them.
She just wants to blow up whatever and whoever she can blow up. Nikki Haley don't give a flying fuck about what's going on. She's like, can we bomb them? That's all that matters. Can we bomb them? Can we bomb them? Yeah, Guam, Texas. Stay humble and good things will come. Very, very, very much agree. Bill Bradley said this channel is criminally undersubbed, and that I definitely agree. Guys, that is what I need. Share this everywhere. Tell your friends, tell your uncle, tell your sister, tell everybody. You know that they're coming down hard on me because I'm saying the things, I'm showing you the things that they don't want out there. And I can't do it by myself. So I completely agree. And, definitely let's keep this party raging. CT said, I'm surprised Vivek hasn't been more attacked. His equity fund his equity fund directly in companies against the ESG system. I think for right now, if I had to guess, this is pure speculation, but I'm going to guess that the reason is because Trump is still there. So I don't think they want to burn, the Oppo research on Vivek if they don't need to. Let him be the underdog star for now, because if he is going to run in 2028. Then they need the bombshells. They'd be like, guess what? He killed the guy.
What?
Yup. You are very welcome, sir. Much respect to the fire. Attacked in the media. Yeah. Bill said all bombs put money in the pockets of the military industrial complex. Yep. Shout out to the fire. What did you say? No pun intended. Gotcha. I got to go ahead. Goldholder said Israel bulldozer, Palestinian homes, IDF armored bulldozer, nonviolent peaceful protester Rachel Corey. Yeah, I mean that's what's gonna happen. I mean it's war. It's war. It's not a game. People are gonna die, unfortunately. People want to act like there's some way that we could just be like, maybe we can just not. Like, yeah, that would be nice if everybody's like, yo, everybody, yo, chill. That's not the situation. We're not at a party where, two guys going after the same girl are boozed up and are puffing their chest out. It's a little bit bigger. The whoa, chill. That's not going to work.
Okay, what are the consequences of that for the United States of America?
I didn't see it. Well, here's
if we
the
take
problem.
an emotional action. So I think so interestingly, this guy Hannity, I was very disappointed, comes after me for pointing out that Nikki Haley has made $8 million after her time as the U.S. ambassador to the UN as a military contractor and otherwise. I mean, that was the wake up call for me, is to see even a purported conservative voice buy into what is the captured establishment super PAC puppetry last night. You should watch this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of surprising to me that he would think that Fox News is going to be significantly more in his corner. But I mean, I guess we all had to, we all get red pilled in that way where it's like, okay, I thought these people were on my side. And then you realize that even Tucker Carlson wasn't really Tucker until he was able to leave Fox News. And don't get me wrong, he did some amazing work when he was able to on Fox, but it's still Fox News. It's still the allowed, the established conservative news. So he says the only way to stop a war is to defeat the other guy, either by them running out of money, the Soviets, or making them give up, like Japan. Yep, I agree. And so, if there are people who, maybe got, so like I was talking about when we were doing that stream, is that that is not an area where I'm very well educated. That doesn't mean that, when I'm understanding some of the details, that, maybe I have a harsh perspective that, this has been going on for 100 years more, but the specific thing has been going on forever. And this two-state solution is not working. What else do you do? Just keep fighting or end the war?
I will. Let me say something.
It was unbelievable.
I'm powerful. Let me say something to Sean Hannity because I know him. Hey, Sean, the border's been completely wide open for 2.5 years. The Border Patrol admits tens of thousands conservatively of Hezbollah and Hamas fighters have gotten across. They've caught a bunch of them. These are not.
Oh, wonderful.
90% military age men. Do you know what Hamas will do? They're here in our country. You know what Hezbollah will do? So
it's in the United States of America that we need to worry about.
Look at Black Lives.
That's what I was asking about when we did that stream. Is that okay? I get that stuff is going on over there, but it always has been. So as an American, what does this mean for me as an American, for me and my countrymen? That's at the end of the day. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Palestinian. What I care about is America and the well-being of the sanctity of the country, America. Where are we? Yeah. Bill said, Israeli controlling the water and electricity going into Gaza means there's not really a two-state solution. Palestine needs autonomy before good faith negotiation can happen to be fair. Agreed. Zibby said the Middle East is like the 40K universe. I don't know what that means. As long as two sides exist, there is war never ending. Sure seems like it. Goldloader said two-state solution doesn't work because no one holds Israel accountable for continuing to exile people from homes since 1948. Like I said, I don't think there's any good guys. I just think there's a bunch of not so great guys, and there might be worse. There might be bad guys and worse guys, but nobody's hands are clean. Nick says, my respect to you all. I'm amazed by the caliber of your character, everyone. My most sincere thank you for being so awesome. I'm honored to know you all. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Nick. Zippy says to Bill, what did he say that? Good about good faith negotiations. Zippy says, yes, there is. The people who live there are going to have to keep the terrorists out. Again, it's just that simple. We're at war. People are trying to kill you. You need to stop them from killing you, either by making sure that they can't kill you or by killing them. That's what war is. It's bad. It's awful. That's why we try to avoid it. Golder said, this is where the puzzle piece of Christianity falls into place. Christianity is the foundation of our moral obligation to Israel. Just saying, religion poisons everything. Of course. And to be fair, to early 2000s, Netanyahu and Israel propped up Hamas to resist the moderate factions in Palestine. They put this monster to justify action in Palestine. Yeah, I mean, again, there's no simple answer to this. There's no simple answer to this. Otherwise, we've just been like, hey, here's the simple answer. Do the simple answer. That's why I'm confused as to why everybody is so what's the word? I don't know, but just like dying to find this solution that doesn't seem to exist. Suzanne said the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank have been asked to take over governing Gaza. They don't want to. It's a whole mess. It's a whole mess. The Fire said Hamas was actually funded by Israel to counterbalance the secular Palestinian the PLO. Yep. And so it's just back and forth, and these people funding them, and then handing that, and like Dave Smith. Actually, I don't know if it's Dave Smith's quote, but if you want to look at who America's going to be fighting next, look at who we're funding now.
Matter endorsing the attacks on Israel. So we have this problem, and Iran has a high-tech military. And it's not that I'm, quote, scared of Iran, but we need to support Israel, but obviously not have our aircraft carriers attack Iran. And then now we're fighting Russia through NATO and we're fighting Iran. What's going to happen, Sean? Use your head. This is how World War III starts, just like World War I and World War II. Once more wars start, other people say, hey, they're tied down. China is going to go into Taiwan, dummy. And we can't take on China too.
And the
China, Russia, and the whole Hamas and that whole situation. No, I'm not interested in that. Whether we can or we can't, I'm not interested in that. That's a hard pass, please. Goler said anti-theism is the solution. How we achieve that is a whole other gauntlet. Is it though? You are already here. You are already part of the founding chapter of whatever this is going to be that is going to revolutionize the world and get rid of religion, get rid of dogmatic thinking. And we will look back and be like, oh, do you remember the days? Do you remember the days when every single culture, every country, they had this belief? And then sometimes there were other beliefs and people would fight over those beliefs, even though they had nothing to prove what the belief was. That is the world that I am ushering in. Maybe you don't believe it. That's fine. But don't be surprised when you see my face all over the place.
The saddest part of this is that if there are Republican presidential candidates who stand to make money off of it, because they're on the boards or have been on the boards of Boeing and are collecting stock options while they're running for president, and have had family military contracting businesses and made a habit of making money off their time in government. This is why we have one crime family right now in the Biden family that has sold off our foreign policy to make their family rich. I could care less if you have an R after your name and you're going to do the same thing.
And that's why it's so refreshing when you're on the stage. Because literally, we've said this on air, we've covered it live. I was doing Secret Crowder. I'm like, Vivek's the only guy I can listen to. This is all talking points, crap. They're all going to do what the military-industrial complex says. And again, military-industrial complex, they said a year ago with Biden in December, we can't give tanks and F-16s and cruise missiles. That'll escalate to World War III. But they went ahead and violated their own RAND Corporation threat escalation boards. So see, your money's not going to be worth anything in your golf course stock options if we have World War III cuckoo. And now China is messing with India. India's got aircraft carriers out there about to go to war.
We are marching our way to World War III. I am increasingly worried that there are people in the United States rooting for it.
Absolutely, there's people rooting for it. I mean, when you have the people who are rooting for this are the ones who have experienced the least in life, and they're the ones who are the loudest about oppression and patriarchy and apartheid and all of these things when they've experienced nothing even close to it. But they think that, being misgendered at work is, akin to what we're seeing in Israel, in Ukraine, in what we're about to see in Taiwan. They're rooting for it because they don't have a clear understanding of how bad things can really get. And I don't know. How do we fix that? I don't know. The only thing we can do is push this message of the values, focusing on the values that we believe in and how crucial it is that we have the same values and that we operate on on those values. That's the only way forward. Bill said the Bidens are as corrupt as it gets in D.C. Yep, Biden has one of the longest tenures of any politician in Washington, and he plays all the corrupt games.
Of course.
That's how it works. So he said, Bill, moving forward, Israel takes over, gets to upgrade the infrastructure and incorporate non-Israelis slowly, starting with basic rights and protection. I don't see any other stable path. Makes sense to me. Omtech said, God, it's so good to hear a presidential candidate actually say they're worried about World War III starting. Fucking love Vivek. Yeah, right? They're like, World War III, we gonna get rich, bitch. That's not what he wants. Golder said, Bill, that's only if you believe it's the West pushing their culture around the world, when in reality, it's organized crime. Yeah, where was that? Yeah, Bill said, I don't think a lack of religion will end cultural chauvinism. The West pushes its culture on the world without without the need for religious backing. So you may be correct. You may be correct that just ending just religion being faded out may not end cultural chauvinism, but the idea of the dogmatic nature that we need to push our culture, even though it's not from a god, it's still a dogmatic thing that there's no way to question that. Of course Western values should be everywhere. That's dogmatic thinking. So it's not just religion, it's dogma. Where were we? Yeah, organized crime. Yep. Understanding perspective, I'm against spreading Western culture by force. I agree. I think we should lead by example. And if people don't want to do what we want to do, and as long as they leave us the fuck alone, do whatever the fuck y'all want. So it's largely it is largely U.S. media and entertainment that gets pumped out to every place on the planet, and then we use economic coercion when nations step out of line. I don't necessarily, obviously that's not a good thing. Like, I'm not like, oh yeah, economic coercion. But that does beg the question, what happens when we don't play that role? And that's a genuine question. Not saying we should always be playing that role of pushing our culture. But it is worth asking, is there not other people who are definitely dogmatic, who want to push their culture? And is it a better world if we're pushing Western values than if they're pushing Sharia law? That's all I'm saying. And I'm with you 100%, brother. I think you understand where I was coming from in the Discord last time, just like I got where you were coming from. I'd love to hear as much of your story as you're okay sharing. Yep, that is exactly what the after party is for. That is where we are headed right after this. So let's finish this up and head to the after party.
And this is our moment to say, hey, we can actually, now we've seen the problem. We can't just spin our wheels and complain about it. We have a chance to lead this country to shut down the deep state, declare independence from China, end World War III in our path to it, protect our own homeland, because that's our job and the moral obligation.
Peace, prosperity, American way.
And then pride. And revive pride in this country. And I think that we have a chance to do it.
Well, you know, the International Bureau of Atomic Science, I forget the exact name of their doomsday clock, and were very respected. They've never moved the clock this close. Mm-hmm. I mean, folks, China and India are basically already at war. Pakistan's ready to go. Iran is already in a proxy war with Russia against us. China's getting ready to move into Taiwan. The minute China's moving all the way down to the Philippines, they're in gun battles with the Vietnamese, trying to take their waters and oil fields. I mean, these are the crazy times.
Let me get one more vote, guys. Let me get one more vote on this poll. We have 9 votes. Let me just get that clean 10.
That it kicks off, and it's already begun. In fact, most analysts say we're already in World War III. The question is, will it go nuclear?
Yup and yup.
And that's why, Vivek, I am really glad you are the most successful person on injecting these topics, because I see you inject topics at the national level that would have never been there, that are so vital. And so, I mean, they may assassinate Trump. So, you know, you're, I'd like him to get elected, but if not you, I think Kennedy is going to pull more from the Republicans if he runs independent, which he is. So I like a lot of his ideas, but I think it's destructive now. So I'm not going to support Kennedy as a third party candidate, because that'll pull from the Republicans.
Right.
So
again, vote for Trump unless you can't, and then vote for Vivek. I think that is the story of the night. Zippy said pride in merit and gratitude. It's that simple. The Fire said Yitzhak Segev. Sorry, I don't know how to read that. Who was the Israeli military governor in Gaza in the early 1980s. Okay, what about him? Since Russia has advanced massively as well. And so this guy later told the New York Times reporter that he'd helped finance the Palestinian Islamist movement as a counterweight to the secularists and leftists of the PLO. Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot there. Again, go check out the stream that I did with Frosthound and Jerkalani. They definitely know a lot more about this than I do, and I'm certainly not the person to go back and forth. But the Fire, I definitely love to hear your thoughts on what they say, whether you agree or you disagree, or where you disagree and agree. I think that would be very interesting. But for tonight, very interestingly, we went from what was it? It was 66% from 2/3 of you saying that this interview would be good for Vivek. And then we ended the poll and did the exact same question. 81% of you said this would be a good thing for Vivek, and I completely agree. I think being able to engage with somebody who has such a reputation looks good. Finding common ground without that person looking crazy, good. Just the idea that you've had a conversation with Alex Jones and it was good. This is all showing people that, hey, you can handle real shit. God damn it! I'm gonna assume you're joking. But while we are here, where was it? So yeah, the Fire. If you want to check that out, that I just dropped a link to. It was last week when I brought on two people who seem to know. Well, they definitely know a lot more than me about the whole conflict over there with Israel and Palestine. And so I was really more in a position of asking questions. And yeah, check it out and let me know what you think, because I am always open to learn more. But this was interesting, guys. I think, as we continue to get closer and closer to, as election season is ramping up, again, we definitely want to keep our eyes on, the changing landscape. What's going on? What's making this person look better? How is this person doing in this circumstance? And how is Vivek doing sitting down with Alex fucking Jones? And I think we have a good understanding. So big shout out to the co-sponsors of the stream. We had Guam Tech and of course, Xander Crew. Thank you so much, guys. Very much appreciated. Vote with your dollars. And you guys are also voting with your attention. I know that you could be doing anything else right now, but the fact that you are here, even if you can't afford to, to support the show, I completely understand. But the fact that you are here means everything to me. So thank you for hanging out, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this one. And I hope to. I'm very excited to where this after party is gonna go. So if you have not, you can join the channel membership just at the basic level, and you'll get full access to the Discord server. If one of the mods could drop the link to the Discord server, there is a free channel where you could still talk to me and everybody else 24/7. We're in there hanging out. But if you want to be part of the after party, if you want to be part of the exclusive chat, you got to be a member. So thank you, and shout out to the members. I will see you in the after party. Once again, I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming. Oh, wait, whoa, wait a minute. Shout out to the Fire. Shout out to the Fire. Coming in strong, but leaving as the new sponsor of the stream. This comes out to $8.91 USD. So thank you. Coming in hot, but ends up sponsoring the whole stream. Awesome. So glad you found us. So glad you're part of the community of the Fire. Very much appreciate it. And I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Again, guys, you are amazing. Until next time, I am out of here. Peace.